Hey, Rory, you know what time it is?
No idea.
Dude, it's about time we cover the best thing that we could ever do.
Meth?
Romantic horror films.
Oh, I was way off.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Frequels. I'm your host, EJ Leeson, and with me today is the best co-host in the world, Rory Calarasi. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. I really enjoyed watching you do that.
Really?
Yeah, you were like not stopping for breaths or anything. You were just pushing that out.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I was like, fuck yeah.
I felt
I'm
the passion.
ready. Yeah.
You know, sometimes like people like they lose the passion over 70-some episodes.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, yeah, welcome to Frequels. Fuck you, we're here.
Mel Gibson
Not
made
you.
the passion. Right? I think he did.
Jesus made the passion, okay?
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm super excited because we have one of the coolest guests in the world. One of my favorite people just in general. Super talented guy.
We had to pay him a lot to be here.
Yeah, we're
to
like,
book him.
Oh, gosh. I know we just got you for, like, what was it? The Halloween season.
Yeah.
And we're like, now it's Valentine's.
And his fees have gone up, America.
Yeah.
At first, we paid him a handsome sum, and he said, "No, my rates have gone up."
gone up.
We had to do a GoFundMe thing.
Yeah.
Scam some people, but we got you here. We got him here.
His list for the green room, pretty ridiculous.
Pretty crazy.
Green M&Ms only.
A camel?
A camel? He doesn't need a camel.
I mean, I may have written that on his list.
Right.
That was for me.
Background dancers? I'm like, it's a podcast. No one's going to see them. But
Like,
they're just
they
warming
don't
up over
need
there.
to. They don't need to. It gets me into my magic mode.
Right. But without further ado, the one, the only, the new Metal Messiah,
Metal Messiah
Jon Snow. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Not too much, man. It's good to be back. It's been a while. I mean, you have my wife on the podcast like every other week, but you know, but I mean that's cool. You know, I mean,
Truthfully, what would happen is we'd reach out to Elle and say, "Hey, is John available for an episode?" She's no, but I'm available. Don't ask her about that because she'll probably just lie about it.
well, I know
Right.
technically like half of them were her from another multiverse,
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, that's been a real problem.
By the way, if I
Real
were to, hook up with the Frequels L Snow, would that be cheating?
No, scientifically speaking, they are comprised of the same genetics, just a different universe.
Yeah. Just a different frequency.
The only thing I want to say to you is that the other El Snow from the Shequels universe, 8 feet tall.
I could work with that.
I saw you
mean,
processing that. You're like, yeah, I can make that work.
I'll climb that tree.
I'll climb that tree.
And if I play my cards right, maybe a 3-way.
Ooh, all right.
You
But-
love her that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. But no, I know we always get Elle on mostly for vampire movies.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've covered a lot of vampire stuff lately.
I know
right?
one's in the gun, something called Dracula Sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's in the gun.
That's in, and I know she wants to do Lost Boys really bad.
But first, Dracula Sucks.
And what was the one? Her and Carmen are supposed to come on to do something. as
Something after Dracula Sucks.
well. Dracula sucks. But no, I'm super happy that you were like available to come on and do this, and it's always awesome having you on. You're like one of my favorite people in the world.
Aw, that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
He has a list
Yeah.
he actually has 2 lists. People he loves, and then a revenge list.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, the revenge list, over time, there's like, it crosses people's names off it.
Right.
I don't know what that means exactly.
'Cause they're-
like, you've forgiven them, I suppose?
No, I would say they're off the list now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just crossed them off
so, John,
because
when I was
The
actually
Eastern
setting,
Trivia Collective has such a list. We refer to them as the Legion of Doom.
yes.
when I was setting up this episode, I found all these wiretaps. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think they're on to you.
Damn it. That's okay. Whatever. No big deal.
Well, we can move right past that.
Yeah. Let's talk about. Okay, so I got to see the Scottish play.
Yeah.
Locally, starring Elle Snow. And she is incredible. Like
Yeah.
she was so good. Her and Liba were like
Went for it.
fantastic. They
Yeah.
looked awesome. The makeup was incredible. The wardrobe. Did she do the costuming herself?
They got to do like their own accents, like all the makeup and stuff they did. Like they were given basically what almost equates to a burlap sack.
I was gonna say
and
it's
then
like burlap.
they did all their
Dressed
own
it up.
personal effects and everything.
Yeah, it looked awesome. Like what they did, and then
I think I talked about this on our last episode, but I remember I was like watching her, and I was looking at all the little accessories, and I'm like, I guarantee you, there's a fucking reason for every single piece of anything on her.
Yeah.
You know, there's one
Afterwards-
day she's like, "Yeah, me and Lieber are going shopping for bones." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay."
okay.
And then we're gonna pick up some stuff for the play.
Like, I got a bone for you right here. All right.
All right. Well, I thought
Most
like,
of our back and forth is sexual innuendo.
Sure.
but I thought like her costuming and just like her movements, like she has such a great stage presence, right? Like like there, I not to knock anybody, but sometimes like
No,
some
let's knock
actors,
people. It's okay.
some actors are a little stiff and like kind of like come out and will say their lines and they're like, "Oh, hark, I can't wait to go there tomorrow," and then they like walk off and you're like, "Okay."
I
And
told
then-
you that the last week too. There's like some people that's like they're saying the words, but their face is forgetting to act.
Yeah.
It's like, we must go before the king arrives. It's like this blank stare, and I'm like,
But the thing about like Elle, like there's such like a it's like a
Physicality.
fluid. Yeah, it's like so natural. Like she's very natural when
Yeah.
she's acting, and like you could tell, like when you're watching someone at that level compared to like other people sometimes, and
Yeah.
you're like, wow, freaking incredible.
just
how
a bit
talented, yeah.
more passionate.
And Tommy
Mm-hmm.
Tomeo, who played, the lead, holy shit. Like, he looked awesome. He kind of
did
had,
you
like, an
catch-
Errol
the
Flynn.
guy that played the Scottish play.
Yeah, the guy that played the Scottish play guy.
He played Matt. Do you know what I meant? I think we talked about this in the last episode, but like he's not just saying the words. It's like you can see him like
Yeah.
in his face, like he's like
Yeah.
sometimes you just see him like searching for the words and stuff, with like the way that you would really like talk. Like
Yeah.
he just understood the words so perfectly.
When the scene with, like, Banquo coming back, the dinner scene, and he sees, like, the dead Banquo.
Awesome.
I was like, Tommy is just killing that
I shoved
scene.
Becca when he was doing that. I was like, you fucking seeing that? Fucking awesome.
Look at that fucking shit.
Yeah, I was like, no, seriously, I was like watching him. Like, I had this big fucking smile on my face the whole time. It was like,
Yeah.
I just felt so proud of him. You know what I mean?
Same. I loved like that Errol Flynn, almost like a Green Arrow kind
Yeah.
of like goatee thing he had going on. I don't know. I was like, that's pretty dope.
It's also kind of fun that when he goes up on stage, it's like he just sucks up all the energy. He's just like, you can't stop staring at him.
Yeah,
He's so good.
I know a lot of his monologues and stuff were just amazing.
If anybody out there like does plays, searching for actors, or is doing some type of short film, full film, and you need some really talented people,
Elle Snow,
Elle Snow, Tom Tomeo, and that's
Liba.
it.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say Liba.
Liba. Yeah, look at these guys up. They're the real deal.
I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was like really, really, really good.
Why'd you send me that emoji with a thumbs down?
Oh, I meant to send the up one,
Uh-huh.
but I was like laying in my bed and I thought it.
Grabbed his
Like-
phone the wrong way.
Yeah,
Why
you know
would-
how like the
so,
screen
like,
will
I,
turn.
I understand that, but why are you like winking at me right now? As if
Oh,
to say,
yeah,
I'm just
okay.
lying right now.
No, that's
I
what
gotcha.
like legit happened. You know what I mean?
So,
It's like
no, he
That's
just
what-
had something in his eye.
that's what legit happened. No,
What else
no,
did
it
you
was
see?
awesome. I didn't see any new movies.
No?
I've been like super busy. I like I saw The Wolfman. Oh no, you know what? I went to the movies with Mike Vinci,
Okay,
and we saw we did a double feature. One was Brave the Dark, which was pretty good,
cool.
and then we also saw Flight Risk.
Okay, the Mel Gibson joint.
Yeah, with Mark Wahlberg.
So he not only saw a movie, he saw 2 movies.
Yeah, and I totally
I didn't
blinked.
get seen any movies. Oh yeah,
They were that good, huh?
Great.
Yeah.
No, I think like when you're doing like a working, I worked over the weekend, and then doing like the show, this acting in the show on top of it. I feel very stretched out, and I can't remember what I even did like the day before.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But
It's still November, right?
yeah, it's still right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Pills and alcohol all day long.
But yeah, I liked Flight Risk. Mark Wahlberg is pretty awesome in it.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Safe
It's
bet.
like, you think they're here to save you? They're here to shoot you down. And then sometimes he has like a country accent in it. I don't know what's going on.
He's just trying things.
yeah, he's just like, he'll have his Boston accent and then like a country accent.
Maybe he thought he was filming like a reel.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
This is New York, Mark.
Yeah.
This is Alabama, Mark.
But it kind of reminded me of like a 90s like action film, like Con Air, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Cool.
it's like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? What'd you see?
Well, let's check you out over here first, and then I'll get into my.
Yeah, like Jon Snow. What'd you
Check
see?
me out, yeah.
Check out Jon Snow.
Yeah, normally when I come on the show, I'm like, I
John's
haven't had
picks."
time to see anything. But being that Elle was doing the play most of the week, I didn't have any shows this past weekend. I actually stocked up on some movies I could talk about.
Awesome.
So Thursday night, I watched Thanksgiving for the first time.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I enjoyed it. I think you guys did a little dirty in your episode, but
I enjoyed it.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I think we were fair.
yeah. Well, okay. I mean, it's not like
Perfect.
Shakespeare,
No.
but
Yeah, right.
I think I called it like one of those like really early '80s movies that you'd find by accident. It's not like a
Yes.
Halloween or a Friday the 13th. That's just what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing, but it is what it is, John.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst I could say, it kind of came across like a B-rate. I know what you did last summer, Scream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That Eli Roth didn't come out till like the very end of the movie.
Yeah. Felt like a frat boy wrote a big chunk of it.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of like stupid dialogue and characterization, but it's okay. It's
Yeah.
still fun.
No, I
it
think
is
it's
what
fun.
it is.
Yeah.
It's exactly the kind of movie I'm sure he wanted to make. I give him props for that.
Yeah.
It might be like one of my less favorite Eli Roth films. I actually like a lot of his stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay, but
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah.
then the following night, I watched Evil Dead Rise, so I could finally listen to episode 1.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And totally loved that. Really hot take. At least this is my opinion. I prefer the remake of Evil Dead and Evil Dead Rise over the original 3 movies.
Okay.
What?
That's hurts, but it's
I'm
okay.
not huge on horror comedy, and the fact that
Yeah.
Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 are practically the same movie, that they just
Yeah,
like they
it
finally got the joke themselves.
True. I give you credit.
I
on that.
like
Yeah.
I like the more modern films because they're taken more seriously
Sure.
and they're relentless.
Yeah, they really are. Especially the remake. I am a huge fan of that.
I was actually just talking about that with Ross Jones.
Ross Jones.
Ross Jones.
Foghorn?
Yeah. Foghorn Leghorn.
Airhorn?
Or Airhorn.
I'm gonna start calling him Foghorn. What's up, Foghorn? What?
Foghorn. What?
No, but I was talking about that. As far as like remakes go, the Evil Dead remake is definitely one of the better ones. I definitely do prefer the original 3 just because there's the magic of Bruce Campbell to be had.
And Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi is also one of my favorite filmmakers, and Evil Dead 2 I think is a pitch perfect movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's just like one of those things you watch it and you're like, I gotta go make a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the reason is just like I've said before, I didn't really get into horror movies until I was like my late teens, early 20s, and I think I watched like all of the Evil Dead movies in rapid succession.
Sure.
All at once. So it's like if you watch part 2 immediately after part 1, it's like, why did I just watch the same movie
1.
twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And
That was
and
like a rights issue, too.
yeah, they couldn't make it a official. Yeah, it was a weird thing. But I mean, in film discussions, there's no wrong answers. It's like, because what you were just saying, like you like the fact that it's more like relentless. And the first, I would say like the three of them, the original three, kind of take a little time. You know, they're not as relentless, but they're definitely more creative for sure. Especially two. Two is so perfect. I can't wait to cover that on this fucking show.
I know. Evil Dead 2, watching that for the first time was like
a revelation.
It was like seeing like the light. It was like,
yeah, dude, it's sort of like what is a filmmaker? And you're like, it's Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it really was like that. I think I was just like,
I'm not kidding. Like
blown away.
When I was like, phrase it like that.
What? Like you can make a movie like this?
Another thing about Sam Raimi. He did the Spider-Man films. Take a Shot.
Boom.
Yeah.
Take a shot.
Take a shot. Maybe they'll be on Criterion. Take a shot.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if any superhero movies were to make it to Criterion.
Like Superman,
and probably... I would say like one of his Spider-Man 2 maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
Because 2 is like kind of a magical movie.
Yeah.
2 is like, Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest superhero movies ever made.
Yeah.
Like,
I think so.
Unquestionably. And it really like encompasses what a superhero movie should be. You know, like these days they're not terribly concerned about casualties.
No.
It's like, some people died, whatever.
Big deal.
Like I like that like Tobey Maguire, that Spider-Man makes you believe that doing the right thing is the only correct path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes being a good person seem kind of cool.
Right.
And I think the world needs more of that. And that's what I'm hoping this new Superman movie is. It's coming out down the road. What else did you watch?
I also watched Maxine for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Finished the Ty West trilogy.
Did you like it?
I really enjoyed it. It's a much different film than the other two. I wouldn't even know if I'd even classify it as a horror movie.
Yeah. I mean, because it really doesn't have...
I mean, it is in the sense that it's sort of like what you would think of as like a movie like a Dario Argento or like a Mario Bava. Like it's more like a giallo film, which is like a subgenre in horror, but it's like a horror film, but it's not like fucking X is like a straight up horror.
Yeah, that's like a slasher film, pretty much.
Yeah.
But like I've heard the comparisons to like the giallo horror, and like that's just kind of like a blind spot in general for me.
Okay.
So
someday explore that stuff. That's a fun rabbit hole to go down. Especially like if you watch Suspiria. Suspiria is one of the coolest looking fucking things you'll ever see in your entire life.
Yeah.
I bought Suspiria on DVD like at a Monster Mania years ago, and like I think I started watching it and I fell asleep, and then I just never went back to it. And I have 2 copies of the remake for some reason. I haven't watched either of them.
Oh,
I don't know why. I don't know where I got the second copy from. I think I just bought it at a Monster Mania, not thinking that I had it. It's like, I have to check out those films. I've heard good stuff about it.
You should just like give them to somebody for like a Christmas gift.
So here are the Suspirias.
It's a Suspiria kind of Christmas.
Suspiria? I don't know.
Suspiria. It's the pearl.
That'd be a funny thing to do on Christmas, is just give everybody a copy of Suspiria.
Yeah. Suspiria?
Certain
No
movies
way.
are like that with me, though. It's like, I have never seen anything past the middle of Alien 3.
That's okay. Alien 3 is pretty good. It's just like, I'm not saying anything.
No, it's
new.
it's like melatonin for me. I start watching the movie, I immediately fall asleep.
Those first 2 are so goddamn perfect. And that third one, it's like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't hate it. I think it's an awesome looking movie.
It had a lot of behind the scenes
huge problems behind the
scenes.
It's a nightmare that it came out as good as it
directors did. And
David Fincher did the best he could with the pile of shit they gave him. And just questionable creative choices. Just like starting it off. I mean, again, this isn't anything new, but like Newt and Hicks.
Yeah,
you're like, well, what the fuck was the point?
Them, right?
What was the point of going on that journey throughout the entire second movie just to have it just mean nothing?
Yeah,
it's a little deflating, but it still is like a good looking movie, and I rather like the ending. That's fine, but I get that. Like, it's not the one that I'm gonna run back to and watch a million times. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing is, like Alien 3, the way they kill off the 2 characters It was like done already in like Planet of the Apes, like the very first one, that the 1960s. Like the one lady that was part of the crew, her capsule has a leak, so that's why she aged so much. And you're like, oh, well, they already did this before. Why would you do that again? I don't know.
You're hearing it first. EJ Leeson's found. They
That was my issue.
Planet of the Apes. Oh, there's one great thing about Alien 3. It's Lance Hendrickson showing up. I don't know if this is in the assembly cut or if it's in like the actual theatrical cut. But he shows up and he's just like, no pictures.
No pictures.
I don't know. It's
Absolutely. Funny. He's such a nice dude, though.
Yeah. He's so nice.
Yeah, he's like one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met.
Although I think I was in an elevator with him when he was really drunk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I met him. I was leaving, and he was just outside, and we started talking, and then he was like telling me, he was like, oh yeah, I learned how to do horseback riding for like this one movie, and then he was like, my mom, she was like a single mom waitress kind of, and I was like, oh, this is great. He was just so nice. Like he was like just talking like all this stuff, and I'm like listening, like.
Were you just like looking at your watch?
I'm like, Pumpkinhead.
Talk about Pumpkinhead. But yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Maxine, you dug it overall?
Yeah. Like,
what do you rate the 3?
I'd say probably like if I had to like favorite to least favorite, it'd probably be in the order they were released.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the long speech that Mia Goth does in Pearl is the high point of all the movies.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
On that.
Not her molesting that poor scarecrow.
No.
Did you ever watch the behind the scenes stuff with that scarecrow?
She's like dancing through life.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, there's a real serious video. It's an expose that came out. It's all in black and white and has that scary music.
Yeah.
Well, really, anything looks bad if you do that.
Yeah. I guess the scarecrow.
August 4th, 2022.
Mia Goth, America's sweetheart or America's nightmare. The scarecrow. I guess he just showed up to just act and be a scarecrow, and then I guess she got real handsy on the set, and Ty West was like, just roll with it. And the scarecrow was like, no, and it was just a whole ugly thing.
Yeah.
I think if I were to have like any critique of Maxine, I think Mia Goth was given the least to work with in the film.
Yeah, for sure. She almost at times is kind of passive.
Yeah.
Her character, anyways.
I felt like after Pearl, like, which is really
a knockout.
Yeah, like such a highlight of what a great performer she is, and then to go to Maxine and not really have any type of scenes that really kind of elevate that or kind of highlight it even more. I do feel I totally agree.
Yeah,
like with what you just said.
One thing I'll say though is that if you do go down that road and you start exploring like that giallo genre, subgenre, it plays very much like one of those movies. I think he was actually like just staying true to that style of film. If you watch them, they're all like that. Even like the reveal at the end where people were like kind of complaining about the ending resolution and everything, and I'm like, go watch some Italian horror films from the 70s.
Yeah.
A lot of them play like that, but do you see anything else?
Yes and no. One thing I definitely wanted to talk about on the show here. I've been scrolling through Facebook, stuff like that, and occasionally you'll catch a reel, and then like you scroll, and this movie keeps coming up. You get like an 8-minute clip of it, and I don't know why I started watching it. I think it was kind of just playing in the background, and it's called Money, Guns, and a Merry Christmas.
What?
That sounds awesome.
The setup of the movie is there's this guy. He's a billionaire. He's like a weapons dealer, and he works with the government and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he agrees to marry this girl whose family has money, but their business is in trouble. But he's pretending that he's just a normal guy. He's a poor salesman that only makes $50,000 or $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And they go to her family's house for Christmas, and it is the worst acted and written thing I've ever seen in my life. But god damn it, I love it. And I need to see the rest of it.
Should I say it? Next on prequels?
Yeah, next on prequels.
Apparently it's like behind one of those apps. Like that you have to download the app to see it, but I've found full versions of the movie, and I plan on watching it.
It's called Weapons, Guns, and Christmas.
Money, Guns, and a Merry Christmas.
Sure, I'm sure it's on Tubi.
Yeah, it's probably on Tubi. Yeah. Tubi always has everything. Yeah.
I'll run down my list of things I've seen.
Yeah,
I'll do it quick. I for the first time watched Man on the Moon to continue my.
Oh, like Andy Kaufman? Mm-hmm. Oh my God! How did you love it?
I did, because there's some part of me that was like watching him and being like, not entirely, but there was some part of me I'm like, I relate with that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a part of me that felt kind of connected to him.
Dude, I freaking love Andy Kaufman, and I went on like a rabbit hole of like just going on YouTube finding old clips of his like television appearances.
I was watching them the next day.
Did you see the one on David Letterman? Like
when he gets slapped.
Oh, I mean that's incredible. Yeah, no, but like Jerry Lawler smacks him across the face.
It's awesome.
But the one he's like, yeah, now that the show's over, I'm kind of like low on money, and I was just wondering if I could ask everyone in the audience for some money, and they all laugh. He's like, guys, it's not funny. Like I really need money. Yeah. And then he goes around and people are like giving him money, and I'm like, he's a genius.
He's a genius, and like that's sort of like it's like anarchy in the comedy world.
Oh man, it totally is.
Yeah, like the guy just is like, you don't even know if he's like by the end of the movie when he reveals that he's sick, you're like, is he fucking with me? Or?
Well, yeah, the whole world like literally was like, oh, he's playing another joke. But it really wasn't. Like, he was legit sick, but everyone's like, all right, he's going way too far this time.
But what a card.
But my favorite scene in Man on the Moon, and then we'll move on. But I just love Andy Kaufman so much. But the scene where he's about to do his variety show.
Okay.
And he has a fight with the editor, and Danny DeVito comes along. He's like, what's the problem? And he's like, oh, I want, like to be singing the song. And it starts to static and gets crazy. Too. And the editor's like, why would you do that? And even Danny DeVito's like, why would you want that to happen? Right? People are going to get upset. He's like, no, I think it's going to be funny because people are going to get up and hit their TV and be like, what's wrong with my freaking television? Right? And Danny DeVito's like, all right, just do what Andy wants. But he's like, Andy, I don't think it's going to be that way. Like, no one's going to think that's funny. He's like, I think it's funny.
I like the producers. Like, we don't want people to get up from their, from their seat.
So the next scene is at the board meeting in front of all the ABC members, and Danny DeVito's there, and they're watching the clip, and it gets to the part where he's singing with the puppet, and it starts to go shh, like all staticky, and one of the board members gets up, starts, we're a $6 billion company, we can't afford a good TV.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito just starts laughing. He's like, I get it. Okay, I understand. If you're in on the joke, it is one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite scene, like scenes.
Yeah, me too, man. That's the part where I was like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
Because like, there's some sort of part of my brain that identifies with a person that would like think to have your comedy be to like antagonize or annoy your audience.
Yeah, it's so good.
I relate with that.
And I also love
because you also hate your audience.
I do. I hate everybody listening to the show.
I love when he's playing like the heel in wrestling, and he's just like calling out all the different female wrestlers, and he's like, I got the brains.
Yeah, it's just nonsense.
He's so good.
Just continuing my Jim Carrey marathon.
Yes.
It's just another winner. Speaking of movies that are not quite winners, I watched Amelia Perez.
Oh no. That's getting a lot of recognition.
I don't think the Academy read the room correctly. Because like the only thing uniting the country right now is people not liking this movie.
Oh no.
Because Dave Gonzalez has been like literally like once a week asked me, did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet?
Yeah.
Because he was like, I hate this movie. And he's
wow.
like,
yeah. And I want you to feel the pain that I felt.
It. But like
I've done that before.
Yeah?
Yeah, one time Carl and I went to the Coca-Cola Museum in Georgia, and I drank out of this one fountain, and it was like Italy, like different sodas of Italy, and one was called the Beverly, right? And so I drank it. It was awful. I'm like, Carl, come here. You got to try this. And so he did. And he drank it. I'm like, it's awful, right? He's like, oh, why'd you make me drink it then? I was like, you have to experience it.
It's it's there's something about like being like this is so awful.
Yeah.
I need people to experience my pain. It's like you want to share trauma. But literally everybody hates this movie. And like
really?
well, here's the thing. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's what you'd call a stinker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, dude, I mean, the fact that like Denis Villeneuve wasn't nominated for a director, but the director of Emilia Perez was, I think is very troublesome. Because, like, one of those movies is remarkable, and this one, I don't know. Zoe Saldana is you know, she does a
awesome.
great job.
Yeah.
But even her character confuses me. Emilia Perez, the character, I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like this person.
Okay.
It's very messy, but the movie itself, you know, it's kind of like I said, not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's a Beverly of movies.
It's not great.
Okay.
But I did see one that was great, Sing Sing.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
It's basically just a movie about, like, it's a real life story. It takes place in Sing Sing prison. And it's a bunch of convicts that basically pass the time doing something positive by putting on, like, plays. It helps them kind of get out all the
right.
you know, the
Emotions.
horrible emotions that they're probably feeling. And all the convicts are, like, real convicts from Sing Sing.
So, wait, so it's a documentary?
No.
Oh, no, it's not.
But, like,
okay.
yeah, dude, it's a wonderful movie. Like, literally, just like you're watching it and you're like, I love every fucking second of this, because it's one of those ones that, like, really captures, like, the human spirit.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like an array of different emotions. But it's a great story. I recommend that one. Later that night, I just had the urge to revisit Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah. You know, I keep referencing that movie. Yeah.
I every so often I need to get back to that movie. I don't know what it is. Like that type of comedy made during that time, I was not a big fan of, because comedy is, in fact, the hardest genre for me. It's the one, like, when I see movies in the theater, I'm less likely to go see a comedy than anything else, because I always said that, like, seeing a bad comedy is like going to a concert and all the instruments are out of tune.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I get what you're doing, and it just sounds shitty. It sucks. But Walk Hard was a movie that took me completely by surprise. I think it is absolutely one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. But the only thing is that if you haven't seen it and you choose to watch it, you will never ever be able to watch a rock biopic the same way ever again, because they, like, touch on all the cliches and it's so funny. Even, like, when we saw that Bob Marley movie, like, there's a couple of points in it where I'm like, you're doing a Dewey Cox,
A Complete Unknown.
like, just like little things creep in where I'm like, I just start laughing. And then there's just, like, those great lines, like when the doctor comes out after Dewey cuts his brother in half. The doctor just very, very seriously plays the line very straight. It's like, this was a particularly bad case of somebody being cut in half with the machete. Just like, was there ever a good case?
I just remember
particularly bad.
For me, the Tim Meadows stuff, where he's like, Dewey, you don't want none of this shit, right?
That was
like,
the marijuana thing.
Yeah.
He's like, it sounds kind of expensive. It's the cheapest drug there is. Or like when he walks in there
non-habit forming. Yeah.
When he walks in there doing cocaine, he's like, I think I'd like to try some of this cocaine. What is it? And he's just like, it takes all your negative feelings and turns them into good ones. It's a nightmare. But I watched that, and then I saw A Real Pain. I know you saw that.
Yeah, that was great.
Kieran Culkin, wonderful.
Yeah.
I really, really loved that movie. It's one of those, the ending is worth a discussion at some point.
Yeah.
It's what's up?
No, I just remembered a meme that Elle sent me. It had a picture of Kieran Culkin, and it's like, Kieran Culkin looks like he just walked into a room and saw two biblically accurate angels having sex.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate.
That's about right. He's a very specific looking dude.
Yeah.
But he's wonderful in that, and you know, if he does get that Oscar, I would be fine with it.
Just like a small thing that I loved about it. He's like, you always had really nice feet to like Jesse Eisenberg, and it like shows like Jesse Eisenberg like takes his shoes off and he's sitting in the bed and he looks down on his feet and he like wiggles his toes. He's like, yeah. Like, I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
I also like when he's like trying to cheer that Jennifer Grey.
Yeah,
he tries to cheer her up. And he's like running up behind her. He's like, "Hey, why are you walking alone? Are you a huge fucking loser or something?"
Yeah,
it's a funny line. And then the last thing I'll bring up, I saw Nickel Boys.
Oh, how was that?
Well, Becca and I walked into a theater filled with 2 people.
Excellent.
So I'm going to explain this very carefully. The movie is from the perspective of the character, so it's a POV. Pretty much the entire film. The 2 hours and 20-minute long.
Really? It's a POV the whole time?
And then at one point, about like towards the beginning of the second act, he makes the main character makes a friend, and the POV switches, and it keeps going back and forth. And I don't know if that was exactly the best choice, because there are points where I'm like, whose eyes am I seeing the world through right now? It's really confusing. Yeah. But regardless, the movie is wonderful. It just, if I had a nitpick, I think it needed to be maybe about 20 minutes shorter.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff in it where it's like, I don't know if the filmmaker was trying to be a little pretentious or something, but the movie itself is wonderful. It takes place during the 60s. It's about this African American kid that gets stuck in this like really shitty, like, you know, it's not jail.
Decade.
shitty
decade, yeah, basically.
But he gets like put in like, you know, it's based off this stupid thing that happens. It's not even his fault. He ends up going to something. It's not quite prison, but it's like almost like juvenile hall, but it's like one of those schools. Right. It's during the 60s, so there's all this shitty stuff happening to the kids. And it's just like, you know, these 2 boys make friends and kind of just get through the experience of having to endure this life. And then it kind of jumps around a lot. It does that jumping through time thing that you love very much.
I love that.
But now here's the funny thing. 2 people in the theater with us. One guy shows up, big giant tub of popcorn, and I'm hearing at the very beginning he's enjoying the movie because his eating is very feverish, right? And then about a half hour into the movie, this guy realized that this POV is not going away, and I watch him get up, and he left never to return again.
Wow.
Yeah, he walked out, but I recommend it for sure. It's actually one of I think actually it's like a Best Picture nominee.
Oh, okay.
But
cool.
You know, but so is Amelia Perez. So what does that say? Yeah. But it's worth a watch. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's a couple little tweaks that would have been a great film, but it's a very good film.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I saw. God damn it.
I will have to watch.
You could have made like 3 of those movies up and I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Amelia Perez is not real.
I have to watch that movie.
Amelia Perez?
Because even Chris Conforti, I think, said he watched it and said it sucked.
The guy who hates everything?
The guy who hates everything. But I've been hearing negative stuff. I'm going to have that feeling. I watch it and I'm like, oh, I love this movie. Well, I mean, or do you think no?
I'm going to tell you this. It's again
because my expectations are so low.
So low, you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I plan on trying to watch it soon. I don't know. I'm really excited for Companion, which is coming out because it's the same people who made Barbarian.
Okay.
And so that's like the movie I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Barbarian was amazing.
Yeah, it is so freaking good. Yeah. But all right, well, let's talk about a movie that's
going to kick off something very fun.
So this whole month we're doing movies that have like a little bit of horror and a little bit of love.
Aww.
And last year you referred to it as Valentine's Day month.
Yes. We're doing Valentine's Day month part 2.
Yeah.
The revenge.
The revenge.
Welcome back. You've been listening to this show for a year. Why?
So today we're talking about a movie, And Rory, you're the one that threw this out.
I did.
You picked it.
I did.
And I watched this movie a lot as a kid because it would be on like either HBO or Cinemax all the time.
That's exactly how it came into my life. Because
Yeah.
when I was in high school, I didn't sleep at the correct hours. I was that person that would like watch movies all night and then like go to bed at like 3 a.m. and have to get up to be at school for 7. But I remember this movie popped on. I was very familiar with the previous 2. So I was like, fuck, I'll watch 3. Why not?
Yeah.
And I was so... Like, it's such a weird movie, man.
It's weird, yeah.
But, like, I remember watching it, and at 15, I'm like, this movie fucking rules.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like Brian Yunza,
Yeah.
who we've brought up a few times on the show. It's like they said, hey, you can make Return of the Living Dead 3... And he said, fine, but I don't want to do what the other 2 did. I want to take elements from the first 2 and just do my own thing. And I really fucking respect the fact that it's not just like a copy-paste job.
Yeah.
And there's elements within the film that I think are rather kind of brilliant for like a little, small, independent movie.
Right.
I'll talk about them.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm sure like you hear the words brilliant in relation to a film called Return of the Living Dead 3, but for suspense things, awesome.
Yeah. So this was the first time I watched it in a long time. And I was like, okay, it doesn't hold up as great as I remember. Some of the stuff I was like, oh yeah, that still holds up. Like,
It's an
that's
imperfect
still
film
pretty cool.
for sure.
But at the same time, it was pretty cool to like rewatch it. And it was like one of those movies that would always be on, and I would watch it every single time it was on. And I know, Jon Snow, this is the first time you watched this movie, right?
That is correct, yes. I have not seen any of the Return of the Living Dead movies at all. So
you're our Vince for this episode.
pretty much, yeah. I'm going to start with part 3. Maybe I'll work my way backwards. I don't know.
Did you watch the other 2 in preparation? Or
No, not
you
at all.
just went
No,
to
no,
3?
Were you
Okay,
doing
good.
drywall while you were watching it? Just to kind of get into the Vince headspace?
Well, no, Vince is in my basement doing
good.
drywall.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're giving him some work.
So, what was your experience?
Well,
I mean, we could talk about it towards the end,
Yeah.
but were you like, oh, I really hate Rory and EJ for having me watch this? Or were you like, all right, I get it?
I enjoyed it overall.
Okay.
I don't really like. Generally, the films you guys choose, you're not going to be like choosing dumpster fires. You know,
Just
like
wait.
usually it's the guests that are in charge of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Carm.
Carmen. Yeah. Totally Carmen. No, but all right, well, let's get into the breakdown of this movie. So the film starts with a pretty interesting opening credits. Like, the music's really intense, and it has
It's very much like the movie. Like, it kind of
Yeah.
just comes in like real, if it's a little brash.
It's like
It's like right in your fucking face.
and like the credits are interesting because it was kind of going for like that Clive Barker I can't think of the name of the movie where like the underground people
Nightbreed.
You know how like the opening credits has like little images of the
Yeah.
characters in there, so like you see images but you barely can make it out because it's like very thin text.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think that's a character in there. Right? It's like, oh, I think they're going for like a Nightbreed thing.
Yeah, I also think that the people who made this movie were very pleased with some of the footage they got. They just
Yeah.
threw, like, put this right up front. Hang in there, this is gonna get real cool.
This is going in. So then it starts at a military base where we see Colonel John Reynolds meeting Colonel Sinclair, played by Sarah Douglas from Superman 2.
Yeah, she was
Ursa.
one of the disciples of Zod.
Yeah, Ursa. And I was like, she looks awesome in this movie. I just love Superman 2. I'm such a mark for
I
that
concur.
movie.
Both that and the Donner cut, I love them both.
Yeah. And so they're chatting
I'm
about
wearing
their-
a Superman hoodie right now, everybody at home.
Live.
He is. So she's chatting about her work on exoskeletons. Like, she is putting the dead into these exoskeletons and trying to use that as like a new weapon, basically.
I don't understand what they think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right out of the-
I got a lot of questions about this whole bioweapon thing. I'm sure we can get into it as we go, but
So are they under the impression that they? We'll do this right now.
okay, let's
Yeah.
get it out of the way.
All right. So are they under the impression that it's going to be very much like a Day of the Dead type of thing, where like the Dr. Frankenstein character
Right.
is trying to domesticate Bub, and the zombies are just going to like do what they say?
Right.
Or are they saying that they're going to put them into these robot costumes and then they're going to like remote control them? Because at that point,
Why
why
not
stick
make
a
a
fucking
robot?
zombie in there? Just use the robot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was very perplexed by what the ultimate plan
Now
was.
that is the plan that got second place.
Right. Well, I love how so Dr. Reynolds, or I mean
Hear
Colonel.
about my robot zombie idea. Hear me out.
Yeah. Colonel Reynolds is like, well, I have a more humane approach, and I'm like, you just shoot them in the head with
Yeah.
like an ice freeze gun. Like that's not more humane.
It's like a Starship Troopers gun.
Right. And I'm like, that's not more humane. Like, what the fuck are you talking
More
about?
humane living bioweapon.
Well, like, what was his plan? Like, was his idea like, let's just drop those things into like a war zone and let them tear shit up?
And then we could
Just
neutralize
freeze
them by
and
freezing
stick them in
their brain.
barrels?
Now,
Yeah.
More practical
Did
than
they
the
not know
fucking
at
robots.
the time? 'Cause once again, I haven't seen the first two films. Did they not know that when these zombies attack the enemy then becomes zombies?
Well,
So then you have to send double the cleanup crew because you've technically converted the
Right.
enemy to zombies, which
to
are
a
now your
deadlier-
weapons.
to like a deadlier.
Yeah.
we got rid of the one enemy, but we got a
actually
deadlier
made it
enemy.
worse.
We actually caused like an infestation.
Yeah. We just sent out a disease that's like way worse than if they were alive.
It's like, guys, can we just use mustard gas, please?
yeah, like, come on.
Have a heart.
It's very
Napalm.
much, it's about as stupid as Jurassic World when they're like, we're gonna use the raptors to fight wars for us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who
Why?
okayed that?
Yeah, like, why?
Scripts go through so many hands, and everybody agreed that was a good plot for a
Like,
Jurassic
this
Park
is
movie.
this is what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they do that. They're like, what do we do with these zombies in these later like sequels? Like, I don't know. Let's
I'll
just
just use them as a
War.
military.
shoot
Yeah.
them into a war zone. You know what? Fuck
I
it.
mean, that's kind of the movie I want to see
I
now.
know. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I'm picturing all these zombies like dropping into a war zone.
Is that what
hitting
World
the
War
ground
Z is
and running.
about?
That's what it should have been. So we could bridge all this
Should
shit
have been.
together.
Yeah.
It's
It
like
should have
doing-
been what that's about, but no.
We're doing a supercut.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So meanwhile, over at the
Army of the Dead.
yes. Meanwhile, over at the beach, we meet Julie and her friends who are in like full 90s mode.
And Julie looks like Blossom.
Oh my god, I have that in my notes.
Yeah?
Julie is dressed like Blossom from Blossom.
Blossom.
And her BFF.
If you're like 20 years old listening to this right now,
yeah, you're like,
you're
wait,
like, what? All I gotta say is, whoa.
Whoa. Blossom, whoa. And her BFF that is like, no, you're so weird. Stop like lighting your hand on fire. She looks like Darlene from Roseanne.
Oh,
Did you
sure.
notice that?
Yeah.
I was like, she's going like full
Now, when
Darlene.
was this movie came out in the late 80s, right?
Actually, early 90s.
Oh, okay.
And to put in perspective, this came out the same year as Jurassic Park.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Neato.
I don't know.
Are you saying this movie could have used a dinosaur?
I'm saying the effects in this movie came out the same year as Jurassic Park.
Well, to be fair,
Well, they used practical effects, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
That's,
Well, I mean, like, like the freeze part, and it's just like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
just looks like they
had
They had zero
they
budget.
had Spielberg money on Jurassic
Yeah.
Park. This movie, they were like we're gonna buy you a pizza and here's $10.
They're like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
use
budget.
that pizza as prosthetic makeup.
Smash into someone's face. They'll look fucked up. Hey, to be fair though, just
Yeah.
putting this out there, I think some of the zombies look awesome.
Yeah.
I-
No,
I-
some
I
of them
don't-
do.
I don't like when sometimes in these like the way they make movies now, when everything looks so perfect. I like a little bit of sloppiness to the makeup. I don't know how to explain it. Like when there's a zombie in it at one point. It's fucking like head is attached to its shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
and
I
stuff.
call it like the
And
melted
that splits
G.I.
open
Joe.
and-
But at one point, like it pulls its head back and its skull starts being revealed, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, that is a cool
Anyway.
looking. Yeah. So, anyways, Julie's boyfriend shows up named Kurt Reynolds.
Who's rocking the Edward Furlong from T2?
Yeah, he really is.
All the young like leading men during this time all had that haircut
and two-wheeled vehicles.
Yeah, listening to Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. So back at the lab, they're about to expose a corpse to the TRIOXIN.
The only thing that connects these films.
The TRIOXIN.
Yeah,
that's it. So back to Kurt and Julie, they show up to the military base and break in.
Very lax security for this military base because he like rolls up. He's like, "I'm here to see my dad." And the guy's like, "Whatever. I'm trying to get fired."
Yeah, he's like, "Go on
like,
through."
If you're sneaking into a place, maybe don't identify yourself at the front gate.
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, you're here to see your dad. She can wait outside."
Yeah, I literally put in quotation marks, break in? Like, it doesn't really, they're not like breaking in, but they are.
Yeah, I know, because like the guy says, you can go in.
Yeah.
And then they're like acting like they're not supposed to be there with
They're like,
the card.
yeah, the secret card.
Check it out. And he swipes it. He's like, I can't get it to work. And then she licks it. And for some reason, that gives it magic powers to open the door.
Yeah.
It's
and then they're
Melinda
like
Clark powers, I guess.
They're like sneaking around the base and like climbing through like the vent, like they were like in the Breakfast Club. And and at one point they stop and they see that corpse being exposed to the TRIOXIN. And I thought the corpse kind of looked like Jesse Camp from like I don't know if you remember MTV's VJ Jesse Camp. Adam will remember that. But anyways, he kind of looks like him. He's like super skinny. I guess he was
the zombie.
Yeah.
Okay, I just learned this. That was apparently an actual homeless person that they
really.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. This story is really funny.
Wait, what?
So I don't know if they found him outside of the LA airport or if it was somewhere close by. Doesn't matter. Point is, they wanted somebody who was like really thin and gaunt.
Yeah.
So they hired this homeless guy, and he came into the production, but then apparently had all these like crazy demands that they had to meet.
What?
like a hotel and all this food and limos and shit.
Really?
Yeah, he milked this experience for all that he could get out of it. And you know what?
He's in it for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's really good.
That's really funny.
That was one of those situations where I couldn't tell if Rory was making up a story, and at this point, I still don't know.
You'll never know. That's the thing.
Hey,
when during this scene when Julie
so
and
crazy.
Kurt are like talking to each other above where everybody's working, I kind of just wanted one shot of one of the military workers just kind of be like looking up at the ceiling, like, "Do you guys hear two
people audibly having a conversation?"
Well, this place has like one security guy, so I mean,
yeah, it was just kind of
on a shift at any given time.
Right,
I wish
just
I just shot
wandering
him
around.
I wish his legs were kicked up and he was just reading a Mad magazine.
Perfect.
And why is the zombie dressed in like that outfit that Sean Connery wore?
Oh my
in that
god, I was
one,
just
like,
gonna say
weird
that
movie?
too. Yeah, he's like dressed in like a one-piece red, kind of like bull rat looking Sean Connery swimsuit.
I don't know.
Yeah, Vampira basically, right?
Sure.
Like dressed like Vampira, the zombie, and it's not really flattering.
No.
It's like
Maybe that was in his contract.
You got to bring your own wardrobe.
He chose that outfit.
It's like, if I'm wearing this, I prefer it. So they bring him back to life, and
Did you think it was weird when they used the gas and he came back to life and he looked up and went back to formula?
back to formula. But yeah, they
Spider-Man reference. Take a shot. There you go.
so they pull out the new weapon and they just shoot it in the head, right? And it like freezes the brain. I'm like, okay, we did it. We did a good job. It worked out. No problem.
They're all patting each other on the back.
Yeah, they're like,
hey.
"You did it, Reynolds. You did it."
Yeah.
Especially
You really
the
changed
older
the
guy.
game.
Yeah, he's like, "You changed everything, man. You did it."
This is war from now on.
We're going to drop corpses into war zones.
Yeah.
You're a real hero.
You're a real hero. But
It was a team effort.
so Julie and Kurt witness this, and then they try to escape, and I'm like, I don't think anyone cares that you're actually there.
I know. They could have like taken some of those guns home, and that level of army's like, you're fine.
Yeah, let's just go. So meanwhile,
Kids.
it turns out the gun didn't work, and the the zombie like came back to life.
Rule number 1. Don't put your finger.
Why did he put his fucking fingers right in the mouth?
Not just his finger, his whole hand.
I know.
He's like reaching deep inside like he was going to pull out like a rabbit or something.
Yeah.
Don't put your hand inside the zombie's mouth.
Like, why would you do that?
They're known for one thing, them zombies.
Yeah.
They don't write sonnets. They bite.
It's not like you're picking up a suitcase. You're like, like, what are you doing?
Hey, that'd be real fun. Maybe he just took a bunch of drugs before shift started. He's like, whoa, this is cool. Holy shit.
Like, no, why would you, like, you don't see, like, medical examiners, like, oh, yeah, so I think the body, like, was hit by a car. Hold on, I gotta show you this. And, like, stick their fingers
This is one of those parts of the movie where I think, and this is what our tax dollars pay for.
It's going into zombie research.
The best and the brightest.
Just stick my fingers in his mouth.
The best and the brightest were busy, so we got these guys.
So we got these guys instead. So the gun didn't work, and it comes back, and it just, like, literally kills this one doctor. And he's a doctor, by the way. They're like, oh, Dr. Cox. They killed Dr. Cox, right? And I'm like,
I know JD was really upset about that.
What about Chuck?
Yeah.
That's a Scrubs reference.
And I was like, oh, that guy was a doctor that stuck his fingers in the mouth? All right, whatever. So then they shoot it in the head again. But that's when the other, like, the doctor that just died comes back to life. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that happens. Like, why didn't you shoot that thing in the head before it came back to life? But they are like...
It's all their first day or something.
I know. It's, like, awful.
They're like the head of the research department for zombies, and they have absolutely no fucking idea how they can actually
They don't know how, like, zombie-ness spreads.
Yeah,
right.
They're like, oh, this is fascinating.
He literally says, I think it's the saliva.
Yeah. And so that doctor, the dead one, comes back to life and then kills another doctor. And meanwhile, back at home...
Oh, wait. Well, I don't know if this happens later or if it just happened, but they're saying that, like, Washington's waiting for a call on the results.
Yeah.
So Beck and I were laughing because at this time, like, Clinton would have been in office.
Right? Like
Clinton's just sitting there. He's like, tell me about the zombie project.
Tell me about the zombie project.
I need to know. Hillary.
Hill, get in here.
Get in here. You're fucking around with the zombies.
So at home, that's a good Clinton, by the way.
That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So at home, Julie and Kurt are kind of hooking up to a song by Claytown Troop, "Want It All," and
But he lives in the White House.
Yeah,
What's up with that house? It looks like
it
does look like the White House. I don't know.
It's weird. And as they're making love, Julie keeps it hot by talking about the zombie getting shot in the head. She's like, do you think he felt it? Oh, yeah. And he's like, Julie, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, what a weird time to talk about
The
stuff.
only dead thing now is my boner.
Yeah. And it kills the mood for Kurt until until she brings up his dad. She's like, oh, you, blah, blah, blah. And your dad, he's like, oh, yeah. And then they started going at it again.
Teens.
Teens. And Kurt's dad then comes home and he breaks the news to Kurt that they'll be moving again because the father's being transferred to Oklahoma City.
And he's like an 80s dad.
Yeah.
He's like
I'm stern.
Yeah.
he's like, I even bought you that drum kit because I know you'll outgrow it, you damn rock and rollers.
You're supposed to outgrow that soon.
He literally says that.
Yeah, he does. And so Kurt says...
See, he's a drummer, which makes him like the worst type of person ever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you call a person that hangs around with a group of musicians?
What?
A drummer.
And so Kurt says he doesn't want to go. And Kurt decides to just leave and go out on his own.
He calls him
with
a freak
Julie.
before he leaves.
Yeah.
He's like, get your hands off me, you freak. I'm like,
You freak. Yeah.
calls your dad a freak.
Your dad?
He also packs all this stuff
Yeah.
It was like a
Which-
bindle.
Yeah.
and
yeah,
two
like-
drumsticks. That's all he needs.
Yeah, it was 2 drumsticks.
All I need is my music and my best girl.
And his CD of Claytown Troop, real band.
What's the difference between a drummer and a pizza?
What?
A pizza can feed a family of 4.
So Julie and Kurt speed away, and on his motorcycle, and at one point Kurt loses control.
Wait 1 sec. There is a line that she says, because Melinda Clarke is the best thing about this movie, because I think she's actually like putting in like a pretty solid performance with the material given.
Yeah.
But she says, "I bet it will be at least a week before my mother even realizes I'm gone."
Yeah.
And that's such a sad line, because you just feel like she doesn't really have like a family or a support system. So she probably just like goes out and parties all the time and probably has some preoccupation with death. I was wondering if maybe like her father was dead.
Yeah. Yeah, because she does seem like she's like obsessed
With death and pain and stuff. And
Yeah,
like
I mean, there are obvious allusions to self-harm throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like, even like her first scene, she's just holding her hand above a lighter. So I think stuff that happens later in the movie, that's kind of like foreshadowing.
Yeah. I think she has like some kind of like before she dies, like some type of depression, and the two of them kind of like level each other out, because he's dealing with the death of a mother.
The death of a mother, and then constantly just like moving, because they were only there like a couple
Less
months.
than 6 months, he said.
Yeah.
And we're gonna come back to this whole thing in a minute, because something happens that
Yeah, so they're speeding away on the motorcycle, and eventually Kurt kind of loses control of the bike, and Julie dies
She
via.
was trying to get his goodies.
Yeah, she was.
Very distracting.
And she dies via smashing into a telephone pole, kind of like Hereditary, but it's like her whole body hits the telephone pole. And it's really weird because the way she hits the telephone pole and like slides down, it's a very like Looney Tunes car.
Looney Tunes, yeah. Becca immediately commented on that. She's like the way she hit that is so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there should be like a little like sign that comes up like in her eyes. It's like no sale. Her tongue rolls out.
Yeah, there's like stars
this
around her
one's
head.
very relevant.
Yeah.
What do you call a drummer with no girlfriend?
What?
A drummer?
Homeless. So he's obviously distraught.
Yeah, he's distraught. And
Well, I kind of wanted there to be a scene like after she died where he like plows through the door of his home and he's like, "Hey, Dad, Julie's dead. I'm ready to go to Oklahoma now."
not my fault, Dad.
But when she dies, he says something to her like, he's like, you swore you'd never leave me. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there wondering, I'm like, is he channeling some sort of ending that he probably had with his mother? Is there like a little bit of like the mother that he's projecting onto Julie? And that by like bringing her back, it's sort of like I don't know, like I feel like there's like something kind of going on with him and his.
I think there's no consistency in his life, and so like losing the mother and then moving around all the time.
Yeah.
And there's something about Julie that like, oh, she'll stay with me forever, and like really attaches to that. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like he not only believed her for her word, but actually like legit thought that was the case.
But do you think that there is like a little bit of him projecting his mother onto her?
I think I think it's everything. Yeah, projecting like everything onto Julie.
There's definitely like a little bit of like a loss that he hasn't quite gotten over. Because it's actually like the more you get into it, it starts becoming. I know it sounds weird because it's a movie called Return of the Living Dead 3, but there is something going on in this movie about like not letting people go,
right?
Like how bad that is. Because she keeps saying it throughout the movie. She's like, "Why are you doing this to me?
You should have let me.
You just let me go." Like she wants to die. Like she realizes like, you know, my time is up, but he's selfishly keeping her in place because he probably doesn't want to have that experience again of losing somebody that he loves, like a female figure in his life. And I find that like it's in the story and it's not like expanded upon too much, but it's there enough that it actually gives this movie like a little bit of depth. You know, for the character of Kurt.
For Kurt, yeah.
For John Connor.
Even like the father later on, too.
I think both of them, really. They both have like a kind of a back and forth throughout the film where like when one's down, the other one tries to be more positive about it, and vice versa. And that's how a lot of relationships are. You kind of have to balance your partner out and stuff.
You're
like
down, they build you up, and vice versa. Yeah, and it's actually
they die, you bring them back from the dead. Yeah,
they love each other. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean that's the thing. Like I know it's a little contrived, but you just witness like there's this magic gas that brings people back to life. And somebody that you love dies, like that probably would cross your mind. Be like, well, maybe I can bring it back. Whether or not, because they never saw, like for him, he never saw the outcome. He didn't see like the zombie come back and like actually kill people. To them, they're up there watching everything, and they see like a guy resurrect, and then something happens and they have to bail. So for him, he's like, oh, I'm just gonna bring her back to the lab, bring her back to life. But there is an awful lot of selfishness in his choices because he's not, I don't think, necessarily thinking about what that might do to her, what the outcome might be. It's more just like, I don't want to experience this pain, and he just wants her back.
the impulsiveness of youth.
Exactly. It's very relatable.
But honestly, I think being that I didn't really know much about this movie going into it, I had some suspicions, but like, you know, right after she dies and like, you know, he tries to wake her up even though she's dead, there's a really good shot where it's like just over his shoulder and then you see the badge. And then right then I knew where the movie was going. He was going to have to take her to the pet cemetery and bury her.
You know, it'd be funny if he saw the badge, like the father's badge, and he thought about the military base, and then it just shows like the next scene, and he's at like a donut shop. Because you're like, oh, he's going to go to the military base and take her there to resurrect her. And he's at a donut shop.
Or like, or if he's just sitting there looking at the badge, and then this old man walked by and he's like, "You don't want to go on that road."
I'll go out there.
Hey, Judd, has anyone ever used the TRIOXIN to bring back a person? Christ on a throne, no. And who ever would?
Sometimes. Never.
Dead is better.
Sometimes.
Dead
is better, Kurt.
Donuts are better. And then they're both at the donut
They
shop.
throw them away at the end of the night, and sometimes they give them away for free.
They're just picking out.
I mean, they're a little stale, but I mean, they're free.
A donut's a donut.
So Kurt sees his dad's keycard thing, badge, and gets the idea to take Julie to the military base. Not a donut shop or to Pet Cemetery. But, so then we see...
They sneak back in again.
Yeah, they sneak back in again.
Through the front gate.
One of their, like, 2 sets they have for this movie.
Yeah. So Kurt pulls up to the base with a very dead Julie on the back of a motorcycle.
It becomes Weekend at Bernie's.
No, what I thought of was every scene in Lord of the Rings where they have Gimli on the back of the horse.
It's obviously
like, and it's obviously a dummy.
Yeah. It's just like just limp.
Her performance is funny though, because she's just kind of like,
yeah, like just all spread out on the back of the
has
bike.
her head turned the other way, so the
And
guy
she looks like very dead. Like,
does.
like, oh, how's your girlfriend doing? It's like,
It'd be funny if he asked. He's like, oh, like how's your girlfriend doing? And she just falls off the back. Just, like slides down the.
So he sneaks Julie. Benny Hill music. So he sneaks Julie into the lab, and
He doesn't lick the key card this time, which I thought was weird.
Which is weird. Yeah, I was like ready for
He
that.
rubs his ass on it.
Yeah, it's like.
It'd be funny if he took it and dragged it across her dead tongue.
Tongue falls off.
Yeah, it's just like.
Oh no.
Julie.
When they're in the lab at one point, it's fun. Like he's kind of going down a hallway, and he looks into this room, and there's like a guy like drilling into like a hand that's alive.
Yeah.
And I just immediately thought of Wayne's World when we fear change. Remember that part?
Yes. Yeah.
Garth is just like working on all these like weird experiments.
Yeah. It's just I love that.
Yeah. He starts hammering.
One other thing I got to point out, Elle definitely made this observation, when, you know, she's in a fatal accident. She smashes into a telephone pole, you know, face first, and he just slides down it. Still looks fantastic. A little blood coming out of her mouth. But
Right.
Yeah, it's like Spirit of Halloween blood.
Yeah.
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 It wasn't
You'd
like
think there'd be swelling or
bruising or like bone trauma.
How funny would it be if when she came back?
It was all internal.
Right.
It'd be funny when she came back to the dead. She's like, oh, do I look weird? And then she just turns to the side, and it's all just like on one side of her face is like indented.
It's just
it's crushed in. Like eyeball sticking out.
It's like Tommy Boy. It's like Tommy Boy. It just feels really bad, like right here on this
side. Not so much here, but over here.
But over here. No, but she, there's like no trauma. And it's kind of like, it's funny because Hereditary, obviously, spoiler alert, she hits her head off a telephone pole, and it ends very differently for that little girl. Like, she literally gets decapitated.
Sure.
And Julie is just like, and slides down the pool.
Wow.
It's like, oh no. Yes. This is like, no problem. So anyways, he sneaks Julie into the lab and he exposes her to one of the canisters of the TRIOXIN. And sure enough, Julie comes back to life, but she doesn't remember dying. She's like, oh, that was so great. And that's like literally
like, let's do it again.
Let's do it again. And he's like, don't you remember? And she's like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on?
Why are you wearing a hazmat suit?
Yeah.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah. It's like, what? But
it's like, that falls in line, though, with her weird obsession that
like
she has
the
with death, like
masochism.
the thrill and stuff that she gets from it. So, like, maybe death was actually, like, a real fun experience for her. I know it's fun for me.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So, Kurt also releases a zombie from the canister by accident.
It's cool looking, too.
And it kind of, it looks like effed up. And kind of like a melted G.I. Joe figure or something.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect.
It looks like...
And one arm.
Yeah, it's like one arm is up.
Yeah, it's cool looking, though.
Meanwhile, Kurt and Julie, they try to make a run for it. And the melted one, eats a guard, which is... And then that's when its, like, face comes apart. Because it looks like it's like melted, and like at one point it like splits, and you could see the skull, like the single skull underneath, and it looks awesome.
It really does. Cool. The creature effects in this movie.
You know who
really
did the
neat.
Makeup for it? Did you see it at the end?
I know the guy from the new Halloween movies had something to do with it too.
Chris Nelson.
Chris Nelson, yeah.
I was like, oh, that's so cool, because I saw his name come up maybe like second or third or whatever. I was like, that seems like something out of his wheelhouse, I don't know.
That's what's so cool about this little time period. They would make movies like this, and like today, if they make zombies, they'd make them look awfully like kind of human. Maybe like they might accentuate the brow or something like that, kind of give it like almost like a caveman sort of look.
Yeah, I feel like they accent like the bone structure in the face a lot.
But like they still look like people. But I do enjoy like the 80s and the 90s, early 90s when they would make zombie movies, and they actually like made some pretty specific looking ones, like kind of iconic, like the Tar Man in the first one.
Yeah, the Tar Man,
so cool looking.
Even the like yellow one that tries to attack them, like that's in like the
the beginning.
Yeah, that they like do the pickaxe through the head. That thing that looks awesome. A lot of the zombies, even Trash, when she
Trash is
like,
awesome.
Yeah. But anyways, they make a run for it.
Oh, so this is one of the things I was talking about earlier at the beginning of the episode, and I said that there's like some really brilliant suspense things added into this, because what I really like right now is that Julie is a ticking time bomb. Yeah. Because like she's a zombie, but she comes back and she's kind of like Julie again, right?
Right.
But she's slowly dying. So you don't know if she's just going to get to a point where she snaps and just bites him randomly, or becomes like a huge fucking problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's really neat. Like that's a really cool concept for like a zombie movie, which I haven't seen explored too often, where it's like, you know, this kid's so desperate to have her back, he resurrects her, but then it's like she becomes something very dangerous to him.
Right. Oh yeah. Even like when they first hop on the motorcycle, she like puts her head down, like, and the way they play it out, it looks like she is about to take a bite, and then she like rests her head on him, and you're like, oh, that was like you're just waiting for a bad result. Right?
Yeah, it's just literally there's like a bomb on the back of his bike right now.
Yeah. And
but it's like he happens to be somebody that he like deeply loves, and that's interesting.
Yeah, I love that. So Julian Kirk, they're driving downtown, and she's nervous about how she died, but more importantly, she feels super hungry. She's like, I'm so hungry. I'm starving. Like, and he's like, don't think about food right now.
And he's like, what?
What?
I like when she says that she can't feel her heart.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so
She's like trying
my
to like.
skin feels weird.
Yeah,
Like, and at one point she starts talking about like how her body feels like it's cramping and stuff because she's like
rigor mortis. Yeah,
like stuff like that is very like primal and it's kind of unnerving.
yeah.
You know, you're just like imagine like waking up and your heart's not beating. Like that's so creepy.
Dude, I Monday like
Woke up and my heart wasn't beating.
I had for the first time ever in my entire life a panic attack. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm so serious. I never experienced anything like it before, and I've just been like running on like maybe 3 hours of sleep a day, and which is not great. And I just woke up, and I was about to like go over my lines and stuff, and my hands were shaking so bad, and my heart felt like it was like out of control. And then I literally was trying to say my lines, but I was holding out I could not like get a grasp. Finally, I put on music and I felt like so much better. But that was the first time I ever had a panic attack.
Really?
And I felt so like I couldn't control what was going on. It was like really scary. I don't know, like that never happened to me before, and I never knew like what panic attacks really were until like I just experienced it on like Monday, and I literally was like what the hell is happening? But I think it's just, of course, you know,
You're probably running yourself into the ground a little bit.
yeah.
I think once we wrap this episode up, I think America wants EJ Leeson to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm off tonight, so I will get a lot
I'm
of
gonna
sleep.
text Robin, just say unplug the TV.
Oh, she was like a huge help too.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, I literally put on
Don't let them watch
music,
TV.
and I was like
Hide it.
feeling
Make them go to bed.
I was feeling so much better like listening to music, and then by the time she got home, like I told her, and she was like, "I'll just take it easy, like
Yeah.
don't even." Yeah, so
They make
Listen to
drugs
Robin.
for that stuff.
yeah,
I'm on a lot of them.
but yeah, that never happened. Did you guys ever experience like a panic attack before or no?
I don't know if I've ever been like felt normal, like stable.
Yeah,
In all honesty, like
Yeah.
my whole life has been like, you know, from the point as far back as I can remember, it's been in pretty chaotic places. So like,
yeah,
I'm always anxious. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I say that to you all the time when we go to like, go do karaoke or I'm around new people for a little bit. It takes me like 20 minutes to convince myself that everybody in the room hates me.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I feel stuff like that a lot, honestly. And I've
Yeah.
up until like the last couple of years, I found all these like really good ways to kind of calm myself down. A lot of times, it really is just breathing.
Yeah.
And really sleeping under the blanket with little Ella and Pumpkin Cat.
Oh.
Cats. You want to talk? I'm not even kidding. You want to
Yeah.
talk about bringing your fucking stress down, like having a dog or a cat or
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, like just like any type of animal, really. Like they make your life better. So no, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry you had to experience that.
Oh no, I mean it happens. Like, you know what I mean. Like everyone probably has it, or you know, like or experiences it. So it's like totally
very
normal.
human,
Yeah. I just never had that happen ever before.
It's not fun. Man.
Yeah, it's not great. Because I'm anxious, especially you know performing, like when you go out to act or even like karaoke, I always feel anxious. But once I like step on stage or something, I'm like, all right, you know, like it totally goes away. But like leading up to it, I do always feel like anxious. I don't know.
You know,
How about you? You perform all the time. So
The performance stuff doesn't really bother me as much. It's more of like the social stuff, kind of like Rory was saying. Like I've been on anti-anxiety meds for a couple of years now,
Yeah.
Like around the time I stopped drinking, I started like seeing a therapist and stuff like that. So yeah, it's stuff that everyone goes through.
Yeah.
Interesting question. I heard Rob Zombie say this in an interview once, where he said that he would much rather perform in front of like 1 million people than a very small, intimate club.
That's so true.
Because he said it's like so much scarier to be like in a smaller area with like a few people than it is like a stadium filled.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well,
but you don't.
I've never performed in front of a stadium.
See.
Our last big show, we had like almost 300 people at it, and I was fine with it. Like and I actually like smaller, intimate shows too, because you kind of get to interact one-on-one with people, and it just depends on like how much of the reactions I could see. Sometimes when you're on a bigger stage with the lights, you can't see people at all. There could be like 6,000 people up there. That's why I'm always like, move a little closer, because like if you're in front of the lights, I can at least see you and see that I'm doing a good job.
I guess like since we're here, for people listening at home, if you guys are feeling any of this stuff, it's completely normal.
That's why I don't mind talking about it, because I was like,
it's just talk to your friends about it. There's all sorts of resources that you can look into that can help you deal with it, whether medication or a therapist or just talking to your friends.
You're just not alone.
Also, weird thing. If anybody out there is in a weird place right now, reach out to us at frequelpodcast@gmail.com and we'll fucking talk to you about it, because you want to talk about a person who's a walking mess, who found that life doesn't necessarily have to be what you see in your head as sometimes. Like, we got you here at Frequels.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's why I like to be an open book, just because I feel like sometimes people might think you're fine and like totally normal, but
none of us are.
no one's normal, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's better to be open and honest about it, because then like people will step up and help you out, or it just feels good to get it out there and to know you're not alone,
it's totally okay to not be happy,
but
to feel down, to be stressed out. It all passes, and just know you're not alone out there.
And the reason I brought it up was because Julie was talking about how she couldn't control what was going on in her body, and I feel like that was like a perfect example of like having like a panic attack. Sometimes it's just like you feel like you don't have like a control of something, you know what I mean? Like, which is so weird for me.
You hear that, Melinda Clark?
She killed it. She crushed it.
EJ's giving you compliments.
But anyways, let's go back to
and to kind of get into that, because I'm like, who's gonna make the first joke to get out of this? But we can kind of go with that. I think she portrays that very well in this film. Like I think that's where she knocks it out of the park. Like there's like a point coming up in the movie where like from that point on she carries the entire film herself.
I think so too. Is, and this is something I thought was so cool. The last Monster Mania we went to, there was a girl who did a Julie Walker costume.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah. Not the last Monster Mania. It would have been the one.
Oh, in Cherry Hill?
Yeah, Cherry Hill.
Oh, okay.
Someone dressed up as Julie.
That is so cool.
And I think Julie is very slowly becoming like a little bit of like a horror icon.
Good.
And it's completely deserved, because she's one of the. I think we'll get to it, but like the fucking design they give her, like she's so cool, and like the physicality in that performance, and like the facial expressions, her demeanor, she just seems like she's gone.
Yeah.
Like when she goes full zombie, like the Julie Walker you see at the beginning burning herself with her friends and laughing when she's with Kurt, completely absent from what she turns into. And I think it's an awesome, very understated performance. Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to this.
So they arrive at a convenience store, and Julie grabs a bunch of Ho-Hos and Twinkies, and she's just like chowing down. But Hiram Lodge.
God damn it, get me some fucking food now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
God damn it.
I've been there, Julie.
But Hiram Lodge and his buddies.
Is that him?
No, it's not really him, but
like
it
him.
looked just like him. I was like, is that Mark Consuelos? Because
It's a
holy shit.
No, it's not him. It's a gang of wild stereotypes.
Yeah. And so they kind of pick a fight. Yeah, Santos. Yeah. Mogo, yeah.
Marco, is that his name?
Mogo.
Mogo?
Yeah.
That sounds like
I watched it with captions on Mogo.
Mogo.
Yeah. Mogo.
Great name.
Yeah.
Felipe. Santos is the girl given a name?
Santos? I don't think so. I don't think they give her a name.
I don't know. All I know is at one point she says, "Your ass is grass."
Your ass is grass. Yeah.
And I'm like, "You're cool as shit, lady."
So they pick a fight with Kurt, right? And it's really
with
funny.
Angel Batista's dad.
Yeah, it's like basically Santos is like Batista.
Yeah,
like dresses exactly.
That's what kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah.
You reminded me of Batista from Dexter.
And they're kind of like arguing.
You have
and
a
then,
Batista shirt on right now.
Yeah, it very much is. And so they're arguing, and one guy, like, so the shop owner comes out, right? And he's like, "Come on, cut it! You have to pay for this." And like, so Kurt's like, "Here's $20. It should cover everything, right?"
He's like a character you don't see a lot in movies, where he's like literally just doing his job
Yeah,
as best he can. He's doing a really good job.
I actually
you
love
pay
his
for
character.
Your food. You guys are causing problems. Get out of here.
Everybody get out of here.
Leave that girl alone.
Yeah, and Mogo,
yeah.
he hops over the thing and he starts stealing all the money out of the register. That's when the shop owner's like, "Hey," and that's when Santos Batista shoots him right in the stomach, and then Julie takes a bite out of Mogo's arm.
Takes a bite out of crime.
Yeah, she's like, "Arr." And
McGruff.
McGruff.
Remember him?
Yeah, of course. I thought he was out of all the like weird safety characters growing up. He was probably my favorite.
Yeah, man. He made me feel good.
I mean, Smokey's cool, but
I like Smokey, but,
Yeah.
but McGruff had my...
yeah, take a
He
bite
had the
out of
common
crunch.
decency to wear a trench coat.
He did.
Yeah, he was like Columbo.
He
but
actually
he
looked
wasn't.
like a guy that would be in a police lineup with that trench coat.
yeah.
You know?
He kind of was going like Bogart.
Well, it's funny
a little
because
bit.
the trench coat, it has like the dual thing. You could either be like a
detective or a pervert.
Yeah, no in between. No in between.
You're
Right.
a detective or a pervert.
Take a bite out of
Could be a
crunch.
detective investigating a pervert.
Yeah.
I'm undercover.
So
I'm on the job and undercover. It's so useful, this jacket.
this jacket's great for everything. Take a bite out of crime. And he sounded like a Columbo.
Millennials have no idea
right?
what we're talking about.
I know. There's like a 20-year-old man scratching his head.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you don't know what that is, I'm certain you know what the DARE program is.
Yeah. Dare. But so at one point, they're all leaving, and so she bites like Mogo's arm, and then they take off. Then they shoot out like Kurt's bicycle and like kick it over. They're like, "That's his bike." Like, fuck that up
Because
too.
he awkwardly bumped into him
Yeah.
and then immediately apologized.
I'm like, what? Why? Why are they doing
They're
that?
bad guys.
They are bad guys.
You got to do the bad thing.
Yeah. So then we see where they run out and they find a van, and they hotwire the van
I
to
wish
start
that
it.
Kurt looked into the camera and was just like, hell of a night.
This what the
There's
fuck
a
is
lot
going
going on real quick.
No, they
Yeah.
didn't hotwire the van. The store clerk comes out. It's his van, and he gives them the keys so they can
Oh.
drive him to the hospital.
That's right. He's like, "Take me to the hospital. Take
and
me
they're
to the
like,
hospital."
sure. Then they just never do.
Yeah, they don't.
But again, a very sensible character. It would have been very funny if they just drove by the hospital and you just see them push him out and then peel away.
Would have been a lot better than what happened.
Like in fucking
Spoilers.
Train Spotting.
Yeah, so the cops are coming, right? And the shop owner is like, "Take me. You have to turn left." And they
No, he's like, I'll go with them.
He's like, "Oh, the cops are here. I'll just go with them." So he opens the back door while they're driving, and the cops just shoot him to death, right? Like, they just shoot him right in the head, and they're like, "Holy shit, they killed the shop owner." Well, he didn't have a name, but they're just like, they killed
Shop
him.
owner.
Yeah. And
Shop owner is his name.
shop
Yes, this is the thing. They're involved in a police chase, right?
right.
And the cops are just shooting at him.
Yeah.
that becomes relevant later.
right. Yeah. It's just like they just like full out just shoot.
Empty a clip on them.
Yes.
I need help.
Yeah, they're like why would you do that? I don't know.
It's my first day on the job. I'm sorry. I'm trigger happy.
It's kind of like John
Now,
Travolta in
Is
Pulp
this
Fiction.
supposed to be?
Oh no.
Is this supposed to be taking place in L.A.?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Because
so.
they refer to the part of town they're in as South Central.
Yeah.
Right.
And that can only possibly refer to L.A.
It looks
right?
very
Yeah.
LA-ish.
Yeah.
Especially like the viaduct.
Yeah, that was going to say.
Another one of your favorite things: no traffic.
No traffic.
No traffic.
Yeah, they're like,
Cruising.
what, is this like the zombie apocalypse?
And there's literally no one on the streets or
No.
anything.
It drives
Yeah.
me crazy. Because I remember just trying to get to like 20 minutes down the road and taking 3 hours to get there. You know, that's what LA is.
Damn it.
This
Yeah.
movie, they're like literally like empty highway, empty roadways, streets, everything. It's just completely empty. And they're whipping around on their motorcycle.
There's more
Yeah.
people in the sewers than there are in the city of L.A.
Which is very true for this.
I do. So, Julie at this point in the van, I like that she's sort of reverting to almost like a childlike state.
Yeah, she's like trying to understand. Like she like pokes her finger and then she's like kind of like getting a sensation from it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, yeah, like when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I just want to see like what this feels like.
You
Yeah.
stick this fork in the socket.
Yeah.
See what happens.
What's the big deal with this socket anyways?
But she does for a little portion of the movie, like the way she's talking to Kurt and looking at him, it's like a child.
Right.
It's like in a sense being reborn.
Well, because
into
Yeah.
death.
it's like she doesn't know what's going on, and she wants someone to help.
Yeah.
Basically,
She's basically like super gluing her fingers or gluing her fingers together and like rubbing it, you know, like and trying to play with it. But that's like her sticking a needle through her finger.
This is a real story for me, just
That's-
life I can tell.
Sorry, I
you
just
know
go,
we've all done that, right?
wait,
No?
you guys never glued your hands as a kid? And
I
tried
absolutely have done that well beyond when I was a child.
To, yeah.
That's a lot of fun peeling cement off your fingers.
Yeah. So, anyways, the cops. So she ends up going into the back of the van and just eating the guy's brains, like the shop owner, right? And she's just like chowing down on him.
Girls gotta eat.
Yeah. And
So the pain makes the hunger go away.
yeah, and Kurt's like, "What are you doing?" Because they pull into the alley, and he's like, "I think I lost
And
them."
immediately lose the cops.
Yeah, and then
Cops are
we
like,
see where the cops.
there's too much traffic. We can't keep
Yeah.
up with these empty roads.
The ADR on that van turning was hilarious too.
Oh yeah,
They're doing a 90-degree turn. It's like,
you're like, okay.
doing a 90-degree turn going 8 miles an hour.
Like, chill. So the cops pull up to the van, right? Like they end up going back down to the alley, and they pull up to the van, and the cops get attacked by Halfhead, the shop owner.
Really, you're skipping the best part. 'Cause like I said, they've already put
Right.
how many clips into this van.
Right.
This cop's like, come out now, or else you're liable to be shot.
Again.
It doesn't even.
I just reloaded.
yeah, he literally
At
is
least,
like,
at least this cop's honest. You know?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah. He's like, or you'll be shot. He's like, oh fuck, I really fucked up the first time. But no, so
Can I
Halfhead.
write up my own paperwork about what happened tonight?
So Halfhead, the shop owner, looks awesome, like the zombie version of him, because like half his head is like blown off, and so he kind of has like this weird, like almost like the top of his head is gone, right? And he pops out and he eats like both cops, like he's like bites both, and luckily the military show up, led by Kurt's dad, and they like contain the scene, right? They're able to like.
You know, we were like talking before about how, what's her name in real life? Munda Clark.
Yeah.
How she puts in like such a great performance.
Yeah.
That dad is like wallpaper. He's not very
He's
charismatic.
wooded.
No.
Very wooded.
Yeah. I feel like he has like one scene.
One range.
But-
he's got one inner like level that he can get to.
Yeah.
At the end, we'll talk about it.
Right.
I like him in the end, but for the most part, he's got like one.
one.
Yeah,
he's like,
one gear.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's like I won't shift
Now
up
here's
yet.
another thing: when they shoot the zombie shopkeeper, right?
Yeah,
He's the only zombie who doesn't get the ice effect when he gets shot.
yeah,
He just falls over.
yeah. He just like falls over.
They just forgot to add that effect, I guess.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
a busy day on set.
Yeah,
They were
They're
like, oops.
we'll get around it.
No one will ever notice us.
Yeah.
Definitely not a guy on a podcast. They won't call us out if they see it.
Damn you, freakles!
Damn you! So
He gets a call in the middle of the night. Honey, they called
They
us out.
figured it out.
They got us.
they got
Took
us.
30 years, but
Honey, put the phone down.
So meanwhile, Julie and Kurt, they escape to the viaduct, and Julie discovers that pain makes the hunger go away. And we see where like Julie kind of blames Kurt for doing this to her. And she's like, it's your fault. Like, you should have let me die.
Yeah.
You should have let me go. And she kind of runs off on her own.
Well, because he like tells her, he's like, "Look at you, you're disgusting."
He calls her disgusting.
Yeah, and then he like
fat
like,
pig.
And then,
And then he called her mom a whore, which I thought was really uncalled for.
Yeah. You and your mom? Total whores.
it's like, oof.
Damn.
But yeah, and it kind of turns away and makes a pouty face.
No, yeah.
But that look at you, you're disgusting actually used to be a pickup line I tried it for a while. It didn't work
That's
out.
like the pickup artist stuff, like the negging, right?
Negging.
Yeah.
Yeah. It totally worked. 100% all the time. So she's about to jump off a bridge, but
Instead, they throw a dummy.
yeah, and Kurt tries to like talk her down, but instead she jumps off. But it's completely
Clearly a dummy.
A dummy,
But
yeah.
they got lucky with that dummy because it
Yeah.
doesn't do anything too different from a body falling.
Falling, yeah.
Sometimes in movies when there's like a dummy, you kind of see the arms flailing
Oh my
around
God.
and shit like a Muppet.
Kind of like The Howling 3 when that one thing falls off the top
Oh,
of the
yeah.
building and then you're like, what? I'll
Oh my
fall
God,
down.
that'd be
Yeah.
Have we mentioned that movie much?
No,
not at all?
we should always bring that up.
Yeah.
So we cut over to Hiram and his buddies.
When she's on the ledge, he's trying to talk her down from the ledge.
Yeah.
He says like the most effective thing, and I'm hoping this is what it was because I had it in my notes, which I left at home. But it's like, quit fooling around.
Yeah, quit fooling around.
The correct
that has always worked for
Right.
talking people off ledges.
Yeah.
the correct thing you should have said was, "Wish you would step back from
From
that ledge, my friend."
Do, 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 do.
And she just turns around and smiles.
She's like, similar charmed kind of life for me.
He takes out the drums and he starts, off to the side.
Yeah.
He gets her. You know what I mean? He should
Yeah.
use his
Third eye
musician
blind.
powers.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
The
that-
drumsticks finally come into play.
Yeah, they come into play. He brings her. He serenades her from the dead.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know what song
I'm
that
gonna
is.
jump. She's like, well, she's like third eye blind, and then she jumps.
Oh, man. Third eye blind.
Speaking of which, how many drummers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
5.
5?
1 to put the light bulb in, and 4 to tell them that Neil Peart would have done it better.
Yeah. I know. That's right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So we cut to Hiram and his buddies. They're cruising around, and Mogo, that's bitten.
He has Zomades.
Yeah, he is reacting poorly to it. And they're like, you know what? We should go look for that girl and totally get revenge on her. And I'm like,
Why?
shouldn't you take your friend to the fucking hospital?
No, revenge first.
Revenge first, but yeah, hospital second. Like, I would have been like,
Oh my
we
God,
should
he
go
looks
to a
bad.
hospital. Yeah, let's go to
That
a
guy's
hospital.
like sweating, and there's like, yeah, it looks terrible.
And his arms like all infected. I don't know. So we see where
It actually begins a trend in this movie of everybody seeming to know where Julie and Kurt are all the time.
yeah,
Because they're all just like, you know what I mean? They're all just like, they find them so easy. There's only one place they can be in all of Los Angeles.
Right.
In the sewer.
and this viaduct sewer.
Yeah, they got
You're
that.
like,
Or it's
okay.
like the set from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
That's what it kinda
Oh
looked
my
like.
God, yeah, I touch on that later.
Yeah, we're
too.
gonna get
But
there.
Yeah, it looks like the scene where John Connor escapes from like
It does.
Yeah, right? Like that area.
What if
or the Grease when they're racing.
What if Kurt was on his bike racing down there and the Riverman was behind him? Dun 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 dun.
Have you seen this boy? Yeah, I've seen a lot of things down here. So this random guy who we find out later, his name is Riverman. He starts telling Kurt about the river.
It's actually Riv R. Man.
Riv R. Man.
Yeah.
I thought his like first name was River, like River Phoenix.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
My name is Riverman.
River. It's actually River Amon.
River Amon. So he starts telling Kurt that the river swallows people up because like Kurt makes his way down and he's like looking for Julie and
The
yelling
shallow
for Julie.
thing here.
Yeah,
The shallow river.
and it's like it swallows people up. I've seen 2 people disappear this way, right?
It's not deep enough to swallow people. It's just
Yeah.
like an inch of water.
Yeah.
It's LA. There's no water.
There's no freaking water. And so then they eventually find Julie, who's just covered in like a couple like seaweed for some reason. I don't know. And then
Old leggings.
yeah. And they find her, and that's when Santos and his buddies, they all show up.
Well, because he's like saying that the Riverman's like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
She's as
Oh,
dead as
yeah.
I've
No
ever
one
seen
could
her.
ever live. And Kurt's like, I can't live without her.
Yeah, he's like, oh, she's not dead. She's just doing a zombie thing. So when she comes back, she says,
She's special. Yeah.
it's like she can't
She
die.
can't die.
So she comes back and she says, let me go. Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Like she just wants to die and he just will not let her go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's actually like something beneath all this schlock. It's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
like really good. It's just about like not being able to let people go and how that can hurt you and the people that you're trying to hold on to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. And,
But not as good as when the gang shows up.
Yeah.
And the girl yells out, "Your ass is grass."
Yeah.
Great dialogue.
But yeah, his I like the guy that kind of looks like Hiram. He kind of has like a Dan Flash's patterned shirt.
Sure.
I was like, that
Felipe?
shirt, yeah, Felipe has like the sickest
Thanks for
shirt.
remembering their names.
Yeah, the sickest shirt I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty good.
yeah, like that's like a Dan Flash's shirt for sure. And so him and his friends start catcalling Julie and Kurt. They're like, woo! And I'm like, what? And then that's when like the lady steps out. She's like, your ass is grass. And she's a great actress in this.
Sure.
Unnamed character.
She does the assignment.
Yeah.
Now, my main thing is obviously Riverman leads them into the sewers,
Yeah.
and the gang makes chase. Right?
Right.
Why didn't they leave Mogo and the girl in the car? Because they serve no purpose.
Because they're a gang.
Yeah.
Huh?
They're a gang.
Yeah, but
They roll together like T-birds.
they're only slowing each other down.
That's true.
Yeah. Santos is like, I want you to watch me take revenge for you.
So just really quick, you know how
I'd prefer a hospital, please.
did you guys know about there's actually a little mythology in this movie? Apparently, like gangs can't cross running water.
Right. Yeah.
Because
They're like, we have to drive around this shallow water.
it seems like they could have just driven at them, just got out and dealt with the situation, but they for some reason cannot get to them.
Yeah. And that's when the Riverman's like, come on, let's go into the sewers. I'll guide you. Right? And
Did you think it was really cool when they cut to them in the sewers and the Riverman looks at Curtis and goes, "Pizza dude's got 30 minutes."
Yeah. What is it? Something is divine, but never pay full price.
For late pizza.
Yeah. So Kurt's dad searches for his son, and he gets relieved by Sinclair shows up, and she's like, Washington wants me to take over this whole project. And he's like, okay, I'm looking for my son. I'll see you later, right? Like, he doesn't even give a shit. He's like, okay. And
like 5 guys go with him.
yeah. 5 so 5 other military guys like
went
go with
AWOL?
the dad. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
They're going to
All right.
jail. You go to jail for
Pretty
that.
much, yeah. They're like, we believe in you because everything you've done so far has been a gigantic waste of resources and people's time.
He also grabs one of the special freezy guns, right?
Yes.
Which we've seen in action earlier in the film, which are very cumbersome. They take a lot of time to fire.
Yes.
They require special ammunition.
And also don't really work.
They need to be hooked up to like a hose.
And also don't really work.
Yeah,
The thing to remember about them specifically is they don't work.
They don't.
More than anything,
really
I
work.
really have to emphasize the fact that these things do not work.
So, Kurt and Julie make their way through the tunnel system, led by their new friend, River Guide Leonardo, a Ninja Turtle role player who lives in the tunnels with rats. He does say that.
He does. I have that written down. And then I said, rats. Where are these rats?
Yeah.
I got
They're
my
not
first
even in
emoji.
there.
they reference one rat, but they don't really show it on screen.
I know. I wanted a
There's a
tight
reason
close-up
for that, though.
because he was busy raising 4 baby turtles.
Yeah.
No.
His name is Hamato Yoshi.
Santos yells
turtles.
a rat, and then the woman screams. There was a deleted scene where
Do tell.
the rat actor was on screen, but he was pretty controversial. His name was Mickey Musk.
Mickey Musk. And he also had like crazy demands, like that guy in the beginning. He just
Yeah, there was a lot of yes. I know there was like a whole thing about cheese, like different versions of
yeah,
cheese.
it was like brie, Swiss.
Provolone was his
He
name.
wanted to be shot to the moon because he thought it was made of cheese.
After production.
I got proof.
Send me on a rocket.
Mickey Musk wanted to go to the moon. The cheese moon.
That sounds like a great title for
does.
something. Yeah,
Mickey
that's like a
Musk
song
goes
title.
to the cheese moon.
Yeah,
That sounds like a folk song.
it does. It's like a Bob Dylan
Old
song.
Mickey Musk went to the
Mickey
cheese
Musk?
moon.
Mickey
Well,
Musk.
anyways, his scenes were cut, and he just-
cheese moon. Mickey Musk went to the cheese moon. They went together.
Yeah, the cheese.
The cheese, they are a change.
There's no brie when you go to the moon.
Hey, Mr. Cheeseman, cut a slice for me.
You know what they say? In space, no one can hear you cheese.
Mickey Musk is my hero. But yeah, it turns out Riverman lives in the Turtles lair from the first movie. I'm pretty sure it was the Turtles. I don't know. It looks exactly the same.
It does.
It's
like
crazy.
The sets were left over.
Yeah. They're like, we'll take that.
It's like when
films would reuse sets.
No. It's like when Kramer found the old Merv Griffin set. He set it up in his apartment. He probably just found it in like a dumpster in L.A.
Oh, man. And
That was a Seinfeld reference.
so, and then at one point, Kurt's like, I want to pay you back. Like, is there something that I can do? And Riverman gives Kurt a coin, and he tells him about his thing, which is basically pay it forward.
Yeah.
He's like, this coin, pass on to you. I'm going to pass it to you, and you pass it to someone else who needs something, and you tell them, pass it forward, pass it forward. And I was like, it's just called pay it forward. That's cool.
He's just
Well, that was before we had the term.
Right. Yeah, this was before.
Back then, it was known as the Riverman's mystical coin.
I got this from New Orleans.
That'd be funny if he gave him the coin and like 20 minutes later he's like, can I have that coin back? I need to buy alcohol.
He's like, I actually have a gambling problem.
I need that money back.
So
Ironically, he does get it back.
yeah,
does.
it does.
Which means Kurt did not listen to what he's supposed to do with the coin at all.
Yeah,
Just manipulates the zombie with it.
Another thing, Kurt tells Riverman about his dream about moving to Seattle and joining a band and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, Seattle in the early '90s, ain't nothing going on around there. I don't see that panning out well for anybody.
Absolutely not. No, God,
no.
Do you know
In '94, no.
what's funny is that he tells this his dream of being a musician to the Riverman, and he's like, "Is that stupid?" And I really just to button the scene, it would have been so funny. He's like, "No, I think you should do it." He's like, "It's great to have a dream. I believe in you. I was a musician for a little while, and the car turned out." Right?
Yeah,
and
that
then
would
he cut
be
it. And then you show Kurt, he's just like, "Fuck."
Well, I mean,
he shows him like drop the sticks into the water.
he did say about the second best thing you could say though. It's like, yeah, but I live in the sewers.
Yeah.
I'm a drummer.
I'm a drummer too. Oh,
So,
no.
what do you say to a drummer in a suit?
What?
Will the defendant please rise?
Oh my gosh. I'm loving these.
Drummers
I love
aren't
this.
people.
Yeah. They're not real.
It's true.
So, Vince, that's his thing too.
Well,
drumming.
listen, not my fault.
And you know what? Everything you're saying is checking out.
I'm just gonna say this though. I think Vince would rather do drywall than be a drummer.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So find a way to merge the two hobbies.
yeah. Did you guys also think it was weird when the Riverman was just like telling him about the coin, and they told him about how he also wanted to be a musician, but then he's like, "Hey, do you want to see my jar of feces? Some of it's mine."
Some of it? Yeah, some of it.
You can guess which one if you want.
Is it that one? Nope. That one? Nope. That one? Nope.
Let me taste it. I don't remember.
40 jars later. That one? Yep.
The one. Oh wait, no, it's not.
Oh, no, wait.
Your first guess was correct.
Yeah. Let's do it again. So Julie and Kurt talk about their plans of like running away to Seattle and stuff. And Julie steps on some glass and then cuts herself like some more and begins to feel herself like a little more like from cutting, like she's starting to have like that sensation. It kind of like is evens out like her like her hunger, but also maybe like gives her like feeling a little bit again. Like definitely like some kind of sensation, right? That kind of
She's feeling something, all right.
yeah.
It's like so like eating people and the pain seems to be keeping like the transformation from fully taking hold of her. They also say something about how
brains.
The one military person says, I think it's Sarah Douglas says this, where she's saying that like their connection is probably keeping her from like actually turning on him. But they said it's gonna
eventually
it's gonna happen. But
once her brain dies.
Yeah.
once the brain shuts down, he's lunch is the line.
He's lunch. But we see where Santos and his buddies they enter
I think
the
you're
sewer.
skipping over a very important thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Because, she cuts herself.
Yeah.
When he's not looking. Then she turns around. She's all like, well, yeah. And they're like, Sasudoing.
Right. Yeah, they
And
hook up.
She's pushing the glass through her hand.
Yeah.
Would this be, then, a prototype of glasturbation?
Oh, my God.
It is. It's the early days.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Brent Wilson, are you listening?
Yeah, you get a quarter.
Yeah, you don't get a quarter for this.
I thought it was a nickel.
Oh, was it?
It's
Oh,
something. He's got he's making a lot off us.
He's making a lot. But also, I feel like...
Glasturbation.
Oh, no!
Sponsored by Frequency.
But he, though, do you think, like, Damien Leone, like, was like, yo, Return of the Living Dead 3, I'm going to have a character fuck with some glass.
There's no world where Damien Leone has not seen and loved this film.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he would be a fan. Hey, so Curtis and Julie have sex.
Are you his dad? Call him Curtis?
Kurt.
Good.
Curtis. No, so they have sex, and then that makes Curtis a necrophiliac.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
That's true.
That's what corpse banging lead to. That type of a label, and that also makes him necromantic.
Ooh. I like that. That's a great title too.
Wouldn't that be a good name for like a movie, Necromantic?
There is a
an
movie
album?
called Necromantic.
Is there?
Oh, is
Yeah,
there?
I think it's Italian or something like that.
Shit.
Damn. I was gonna say that's a good like album title.
Necromantic,
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's pretty
recently
good.
just found out about this movie on this like top 10 list of weird, disturbing movies or something.
I thought it was from L's Dracula porn from the producers of Necromantic.
Necromantic.
Comes.
Literally. Yeah, we see like Santos and his buddies, they enter the sewer and Mogo's looking pretty terrible at this point.
and the Riverman, bad watchdog.
Yeah, he's like kind of terrible because he's like, I'll keep an eye
He
out.
seems like he'd be dependable.
Yeah. Kurt takes a nap, and that's when Julie gives herself a quick makeover. But she like is grabbing all this glass that she finds, and
They should have given her like a Sandra D
Piercings.
reveal.
oh my god. She turns around and
about it,
stud. Do.
See, here's one of my critiques of the not of the film itself, but I had to watch this on Amazon Prime, so obviously you see like the movie poster.
Yeah. Oh right, yeah. So you
And-
it was
and,
a
like,
spoiler.
Yeah, it's a pretty big spoiler. Like I
Right.
think the reveal itself would have been much more impactful had I not seen the image first.
Yeah.
Now,
oh yeah.
on the other end of it, I was 15, never saw the poster, was not familiar with this movie's
Yeah.
existence. So for me, that reveal, I was like, holy shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing ever.
Like how she has like glass over her brow.
There's like fucking nails
And,
in her arms.
Yeah, she has like nails through the arms and like just piercings like through her lips.
Just
and
whatever's
face
laying
and,
around, she's
yeah,
got it like screwed into her
glass
arm and shit.
into her hands. And
Yeah, she sticks
yeah.
like fucking like piece of metal through her fingers.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just saying it. As far as like horror, female horror villains go, she is the coolest looking one.
Yeah. By far. Like I feel I've seen like a lot of cool horror cosplay. A lot of like Tiffany's, of course, from Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
And
Even like a Julia from like Hellraiser's pretty badass and like Hellbound.
yeah.
Like the
But a lot of people don't do that though
No,
either.
It's so easy to do too. But
Yeah.
like the imagination and like just how fucking perverse the whole thing is.
Yeah.
Is so it's so like creative and interesting looking.
Well, it's
Yeah.
probably like visually it borrowed quite a bit from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
You saying they had some Hellraiser stuff laying around? The
They might have. They might have.
the glasturbation bite.
Yeah.
You opened it. We came.
All
Now-
over.
The term glasturbation bite. Do you have to pay for that?
Not if I add bite to the end.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
smart.
It is. I'm finding
Smart.
loopholes.
But she does look like like a Cenobite, like 100%.
But at the same time,
It's like a DIY Cenobite.
Right, yeah.
not to be reductive, because I feel like if they were going for the Cenobite thing, they probably would have leaned into the leather. But it's just more like it's just glass and metal and rusty springs.
Yeah.
And like there's like a rock hanging from her hand because like the rock is pulling down on something that's sticking into her flesh, probably causing more pain. It's
Yeah.
just such a disturbed mind can only come up with
Yeah,
something
aesthetically,
so wild.
it's like outstanding.
One of the most
Yeah.
unique and interesting things I've seen. In
I'm
horror
curious,
film.
like how many different like iterations of that there were. Was there one? It's like, oh, we went a little too far. Let's dial it back.
Yeah.
There's one where there was a bunch of pins in her head.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, that looks too familiar. No, it's such a cool design. Like, literally, I could see...
I don't know. Where did you get the nipple rings from?
Oh, they were laying around. I think
Yeah.
they were the Rivermans.
Okay.
I think Riverman just has a weird collection.
Because from earlier in the film, nipples were not pierced.
Yeah.
She just found them.
And then she just yeah, Riverman has everything down there. I just like I wouldn't put it past
Riverman
him.
got your hookup.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd you get my nipple rings? Where'd you find them?
I didn't say you could use those. But yeah, no. So that's when we see, you know, she has this complete makeover, and she looks freaking awesome, and she has like a really cool reveal that we'll get to. But Santos finds Riverman and starts torturing him, like kind of like drowning him a little
In
bit.
an inch of water.
Yeah, in like a puddle, basically. And he's like, tell us where that girl is. And that's when Kurt comes along and tries to fight them all. He has like a bat, and Riverman has everything. That's my answer. They're in the sewers.
It's just a stick.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah.
Bored.
Yeah, he comes along, he like fights him off. But eventually Santos pins Kurt to the ground. And that's when Julie shows up. And that's when she's like all decked out and has that awesome reveal. Like the backlighting.
Yeah, the backlighting when the door opens. It's almost like she's like I don't know, like leaning up against the door and kind of like it almost looks like she's like attached to it when it opens.
Yeah.
She's got herself like her arms all spread out
And she's like hunched over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a great looking reveal.
It's so cool. Yeah. And so that's like the first time, you know, all of us are really seeing, like we're seeing like little like kind of like
Bits and
Sam
pieces.
Raimi like close up things going
Yeah.
on when she's like piercing herself, but we don't really know what's going on. Like the look fully
you
together
see it.
until you see it and you're like, holy shit, that's
shit.
so cool. Yeah.
You know, it's really neat. Just like that entire build up to her coming out is like so cool.
Yeah. And we see where she kills Santos like Sub-Zero. Like she literally like rips his head off, but the spine's like still attached to like the body, and she's like carrying.
Well, yeah, because he immediately goes into this thing where he's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got glass shoved in your face, cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I was gonna kill you like 5 minutes ago, but I think I have other ideas now.
Yeah. What does he say? He's like, "I like this kinky."
Yeah,
Kinky.
my kind of girl. Yeah.
If I saw people like full on like glass piercing through their skin, I'm like, should I call you 911?
I know. I would have like wrapped her in a blanket and just brought her to the
are you
hospital.
okay? Like what happened?
Are you okay?
So that's when, yeah, she kills him, and then she bites the face off of the Hiram Felipe character.
Hiram Lodge.
And I was like, oh no, his shirt, because there was like blood all over it.
Yeah.
So then
Nice
River,
shirt.
yeah, it's a
It'd be
nice
funny
shirt.
if Riverman like picked it off his body and just kept it.
Yeah. So Riverman pulls Julie and Kurt into a room where they barricade themselves in, because at this point, Mogo ends up biting the girl that's with them, and so they're all like kind of zombies at this point.
Yeah, so back when they're out there, and Julia's going like nuts on them.
Yeah.
Chica, she starts climbing the ladder.
Chica, that's her name.
No, I just made that up.
Oh, okay. I was
I
like,
want it to be her.
yeah.
And it was like watching like a ladder match in like wrestling,
Yeah.
where she like climbs up 2 rungs and then she gets her leg scratched,
Yeah.
and then she just stops moving up, and then she slowly climbs back down the ladder for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And then gets bitten by the other guy.
Yeah. And
I
then
thought-
takes her bump.
I thought it was cool though when Julie like has those the fucking claws that she gave herself, and she just like
Yeah.
runs it down her leg.
It's so cool.
Yeah, man, it's really neat. But again, going back to Melinda Clarke's performance, so there's like the Julie at the beginning of the movie. There's the Julie when she's kind of in like that like infant state, and then there's this Julie where she's just gone. She's like this primal monster thing, and it's like, well, she does a lot in this movie, and it's just like I don't. For a long time, they weren't really. She wasn't getting a lot of credit. But I remember I picked up like a Fangoria issue a couple of years back, and they were just basically saying that like this movie is finally getting its due. Like people are finally kind of like, oh, like this isn't just like a shitty part 3 of something.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people are actually like really reevaluating this one, but and so much of it I think is just her.
Yeah.
Like she's just so like fucking cool looking, and it's a really very interesting performance.
I actually would say Riverman, which is like not a great name, right?
Oh, sure.
But his performance is really good.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It seems like he's seen a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I was
Wouldn't
like,
recommend it.
Recommend it.
and he sings a little bit in it.
out
It's pretty
coins,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So
He's really putting himself out there, too.
yeah,
He's like a really good host.
yeah, he really is. He's like, make yourself at home. Kurt tries to hold them off, while Riverman takes Julie to like away. He's like, you take her, get her out of here, get her out of here. And Kurt barely escapes. And when he like makes it to the next room, he finds Julie eating Riverman. Like she ends up killing Riverman.
Is that when he has like all the boards
Yeah.
nailed? It's like a Night of the Living Dead thing.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
cool. Like
it's
the
really
hands
cool.
reaching through and shit. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a nice little nod.
That's when the military arrives. Because he at this point, he's just going to give himself into...
Yeah, he's giving up.
Yeah, like getting killed at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he sees like Julie is now probably way past
Yeah.
what she was.
He doesn't want
you
to
know?
be here anymore, and he's doing too much.
Yeah.
Well, before that, like he yells at her for it's like, no, not him.
Yeah.
And then she comes at him, and then he clocks her with a stick, and like I think the pain from getting hit snaps her out of it briefly.
Right.
And I think that's another thing where it's like it shows you her range because she goes from one thing to another like at the drop of a hat, and
Yeah.
like it's convincing in both modes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she
Like
really
where
does.
you
Yeah.
instantly feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go
Yeah.
from seeing her do like literally pulls a man's spine, and like she's like a monster, but
Finish
she
him.
very quickly gets your sympathy back.
Yeah.
Because she is just like a kid, really, when you get down to it.
Yeah.
It's just like, going through something pretty damn horrible.
Yeah.
I think one of the weird things is her performance as a zombie or becoming a zombie is so different than anything else in the movie. Because anyone else, when they die and they come back, they're immediately just like a zombie.
I would argue
Yeah.
that this is a very unique zombie in general, like within the genre itself. Like I can't think of too many movies I've seen with a plot like this, where it's like
Right.
two lovers who like wanted, like, she's like, you're actively watching her die basically and turn into a zombie, but then like being able to still communicate with her through it.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It's like a really cool angle to
Romeo
take.
and Juliet.
That's kind of like
thing,
the way I
yeah.
was like I would always explain that to people. It's kind of like it's got like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing, like the tragic doomed lovers.
romance. Yeah.
So you mentioned the army shows up.
Yes.
Here's my one complaint. So it's an editing thing. They show the army show up, and they show them all loading, and then it cuts back over to Kurt, and Kurt's kind of at this point now where he's like, okay, I'm giving myself up. I don't want to do this anymore. And then someone comes over to bite, and then the army shoots the zombie. Kurt is saved, right?
Yeah.
I think it would have been a better way to just don't show the army show up. You see, like, Kurt's giving up, the zombie's about to bite him, and then you hear that sound the gun makes, like
yeah.
and then shoots
Yeah,
him last
yeah.
second, and then you rack focus behind him, and you just see the army all set up shooting out. That
Yeah,
would have been
that
a
would've
better,
been
way
better
to do it.
reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been better. That's the only misstep for me so far.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. And then that's when we see like they pretty much brain freeze all the undead, even Julie. And my thing is the brain freeze thing is like weird because it just looks like it's like a television screen goes over like their face, like the lighting of a TV screen. I don't know. It's weird.
What if their alternate way to do this, instead of the little gun that shoots it into the head, they just have the zombies eat ice cream real fast?
Like here's an icy.
Ah! And they just fall over.
And that's what takes
Could
them
do
out.
like the chilled monkey brains from Temple of Doom.
Yeah. So good.
Now,
My brain.
Ow.
Brains.
Brain hurts. Ouch. Ouchie. Ouchie, zombie.
Brain don't feel good.
Don't like Chunky Monkey.
We're Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah. I don't like Jerry Garcia.
Are you guys getting money from Ben and Jerry's?
No.
Hey, Ben Jerry's wants to give us some money. We'll sell out.
Yeah, we will.
We
In
are
a second.
Hey, everyone listening right now, we are open to selling out.
Yeah. We're open to just selling out for anything.
Yeah.
You guys can get your own flavor of frequels and chill.
Ooh.
Prequels.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for us, that would be frequels and chill. Wait, frequels and chill.
Hear that, Ben and Jerry's?
Oh, my God.
Ben and Jerry's, check out frequelpodcast@gmail.com. We're
Hit us up,
willing to
Sell out.
to hawk your shitty ice cream.
But
Love Ben and Jerry's.
I know, me too.
So
That's like a carton you sit down and eat the entire way through. You don't put it back.
Oh, no. You take the lid off and you throw it away like a man.
Yeah.
yeah. Who saves that lid? Once that's off, it's gone.
It's just, you gotta sit down, you gotta finish that.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, the part where, the father's like, get away from her and stuff like that. And then he steps away. I wasn't expecting that.
Right, yeah.
And then she gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's kind of just sitting down in the corner.
Yeah.
And it fades to black.
Yeah.
I honestly think the movie should have ended there.
That would have been, yeah, that's a solid.
I think it would have been
Yeah.
a lot more impactful.
Yeah. Yeah, because he finally, lets her go.
Sure.
It's like, that's their tragic story.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I could see that being like an ending, but there is something that happens within the next 20 minutes. We'll talk about when we get there, but I get where you're coming from, though, because that is like a good button where it's just kind of like, okay, I'm done.
Like, it felt like the end of me. And oh, wait, there's more.
Then you cut to, you fade to black, and it comes back up, and they're, packing to go to Oklahoma, and they're like, well, so now that I'm fired, I'd like to be your dad.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's another thing, too. It's like, I don't know if, when the father, disobeys the orders and goes after his son, are we supposed to be like, I like him now?
Yeah, he's all right.
Oh,
Or there's well, your mom died and I got sad. And okay, or I still don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not...
to an extent, the end makes it more about him than Kurt.
I'll kind of explain, just from my perspective, why the ending works for me the way that it does, because it does kind of follow along with that idea of not letting something go, and how it can actually hurt you and the people that you supposedly love, because it's his inability. Well, we'll get there.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
we'll get there,
you're basically saying it ties into the theme.
It does.
Okay, I get it. But
Yeah.
I just wanted a sad.
No,
ending.
yeah. No, it's a good ending for sure, in the sense that how much more time do you need to tell the story of it's a good place to wrap it up if you want to give it more of an upbeat, happier ending where it's Kurt learns something that sometimes it's letting your girlfriend get shot in the head is the right way to go.
Sometimes
that is better. That is the
Sometimes. I just knew from the beginning, even when I was a kid, I'm like, they're bringing this exoskeleton shit into it. And so I was waiting for that to happen.
That is true. It is
So I was like,
they check off exoskeleton.
They didn't blow that on the budget for nothing.
yeah, they're like, that's not just a term you throw out there. They're like, we got something planned for you guys. Stick around.
That fucking thing, man. It looks like remember in Saw 3, The Rack?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a character, Timothy Young, I think his name was.
Yeah.
It looks like that thing.
That and then 13 Ghosts, the jackal thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyways, at the military base, Kurt asks his dad, which was now the project has been handed over to Sinclair. And Kurt sneaks off on his own to find
he and the dad
Julie.
had that conversation where it's basically reinforcing that thing that's brought up towards the beginning of the movie about the mother, and he's like, not
Yeah.
letting go and just trying to hold on to things. Like, he's trying to extend his hand to him and being like, hey, I want to, I want to start over. I want to be like your father.
Yeah.
I've been running away from everything because of the pain that I feel from like losing the mother. And it's just sometimes you have to let all this stuff go to start over. And I'm like, again, good.
Great.
We're
Now,
feeding into the theme.
Question is, why aren't they both in jail?
Yeah, because
There's a lot of
obviously
crime
Kurt,
that happened.
Yeah, Kurt broke into the base and exposed his girlfriend, and literally a guard died because of what he did. And then the father just went AWOL with other agents. So you would think
sold high-tech government weapons.
Yeah.
There's
there's
a scene where they're like, Mogo did it.
Oh, they got him. Blame the Mexicans. I understand.
They just blame him.
I didn't do anything.
Kurt sneaks off on his own to find Julie, and he sees
Larry David locking down the TRIOXIN.
Yeah.
Did you see that guy look just like Larry David?
Yeah.
All things considered, right? They're pretty chill about this kid just still walking around this place by himself.
That's my next note. It says, why do they let Curtis walk around the lab freely?
And the weird thing is, they have cameras, right? They legit have cameras.
A camera.
Yeah.
They do show one camera because they do, like, the first guard that gets killed by the zombie that they unleashed earlier in the movie. They show that on camera footage, and they're watching it.
Yeah.
So there's one camera outside that door, apparently.
Yeah. And it's like, like, if they have this, why aren't they like, we got a person over here on hallway 12 or whatever. And it's like, no, they just like let that go, and we'll check out the footage an hour later.
Yeah, we fired our guy.
Yeah,
our guy was supposed to be keeping an eye on shit.
He was reading Mad Magazine.
He was with feet up.
So yeah, Kurt sneaks off on his own, and that's when he actually comes across the Riverman reanimated, and he is in that exoskeleton suit. And
looking as confused as the audience.
And he's like laying out like some major damage, like the reanimated Riverman. He's like really kicking some ass.
He's River Maniac.
Yeah. You know something, brother? So at one point though, and all this stuff is like breaking out, and people are like, zombies are attacking, and
I do have to say, it was very nice of them to reattach Santo's head for him.
It was very nice.
I was like, that's great. That was really nice.
It's a kinder, gentler, more humane undead bioweapon.
That's what they do.
Cover
there.
girl.
I also like that.
Kinder, gentler, remaining head. Cover girl.
I do like also that all of the military, I guess they were like former stormtroopers because they can't shoot for shit.
Yeah.
Well,
one actually bumped his head on a door. No, I'm just kidding.
The doctor that's in the room where Julie is, right?
Yeah.
Recognizes Kurt.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're John's son.
Hey, you're
It's
John's
like,
son. Yeah.
So then he'd probably know. Oh, that's your girlfriend. Oh yeah, she's next. We're gonna
rip
strap her
apart.
up. Strap her up, and she's gonna become the new stormtrooper.
Yeah, we're gonna really, really do horrible things to that person you love. You loved her, right?
Yeah. You like her?
When you look at her, I notice there's a lot of pain in your face.
Yeah.
It looks like you loved her. Wait to see what we're gonna do to her. We're gonna cut her all up and shit. It's gonna be awesome.
The coolest thing is Riverman, like Kurt talks to Riverman, and he's like, help us out. And Riverman's like,
All right.
I remember this guy. Okay, yeah, all right.
You were actually the reason I'm dead.
Yeah, wait, aren't you guys the reason I fucking died?
Yeah, like you think he'd realize. Remember when I said don't let her in the room? He's like, oh, she's got to go. And then remember when you told me to go with her, and I'm like, no, she's crazy. He's like, no, you got to go. We all got to go. I gave you 2 opportunities.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you, I'd be alive. You brought a world of trouble into my life.
Yeah.
And then Kurt
you want me to help
shows
you?
him the coin.
Yeah.
Remember
and that's
what
how
the
he
coin
remembers.
is about.
He's like, look, remember? And Riverman's like, This fucking asshole. Yeah, I remember.
You're supposed to give the coin to someone in need.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me.
When you help them out.
It's part of the Riverman's code.
All right. You know the Riverman code better than I do. It's what I gotta do. So, as they escape...
That would have been funny if he's like, help me open the door, and he's like, no, and he starts walking away, and then he pulls out the coin. He's like, I got the coin. You said that you have to help somebody, and then he just stops and turns around like, shit.
Yeah.
But that's the opposite of what the coin's supposed to do, though. He's Kurt now is supposed to help someone out.
Yeah.
Not give someone the coin to get help.
So
right.
He gives Kurt help and gives him a coin to help somebody else, but instead Kurt gives him the coin back to help him again.
Yes.
He's like, remember the first time you helped me because of this?
A Riverman's mystical coin at all.
Yeah.
It came from New Orleans.
I don't think you understand how this works.
You're supposed to pay it forward, not give it back to me and be like, I need your help again.
But then again, I do have a bet I'd like to make.
Yeah. Like, what's up?
Riverman bets on the ponies.
Riverman in debt.
So, when Riverman breaks out of the room he's in, the doctor grabs a gun off the wall.
Yeah.
For some reason, this gun is a shotgun.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
not the zombie freeze gun.
I'm sorry.
Right.
It's like crypto.
Cryptocurrency.
Riverman invested in cryptocurrency. Not doing so well.
Riverman in bad.
Gave bad financial advice.
From Tech Bro.
Took up cryptocurrency. Not good.
Now I live in the sewer.
Riverman.
This is actually the best outcome for someone like me.
This is the most expensive outfit I've ever worn.
Yes. This is so...
I
It's like skeleton is working out for me pretty good.
invented Pepsi.
Yeah.
I lost it all.
So we see, obviously Sinclair ends up dying, and but Riverman, is getting pretty much shot to death by a shotgun, and it's very much like RoboCop, right? Where it's like no, boo, and you just see leg explode, and
Well, a shotgun will do that.
oh yeah, but it's just very much reminding me of RoboCop.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when Murphy is getting shot.
My question is, right? All the barrels with the zombies in them and that gas, whatever it's called,
The TRIOXIN.
Yeah. Why do they all of a sudden just all start opening?
Because the plot needed it to happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's the
I wish there was more to it, but they were like, well, this is the climax of the film.
Wouldn't it be scary if all the zombies in the barrels just came out at once for no reason?
It was on a timer.
It's called This Is When the Plot Needs Something to Happen.
9 o'clock, a timer goes off and they all open.
Yeah. It's 9 o'clock. Open the canisters.
We like to let them
There's a
stretch
point
their
where
legs a little.
Riverman is taking the doctor that was shooting with the shotgun and he's bouncing him off a wall.
Yeah.
And there's a button on the wall that says open behind it. So I thought it was going to open the cages that had the cartel gang in them and they were going to come out. But no, apparently it opened all the barrels.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. And by the way,
why would they have that button?
Yeah. Did you think
It seems like a...
Riverman was supposed to be oh, this is going to be Tarman of now, the new Tarman, but they're going to be Riverman. Do you think so?
Probably. They were like, we need something as cool or cooler than Tarman.
The actor that
didn't
played
succeed.
Riverman
Yeah.
got that distinctive in the opening credits, and I forget the guy's name, as Riverman
I know.
at the end. So maybe they did think it was
As if you knew who that actor was.
Yeah, I'd never heard of him.
This movie as Riverman.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, man. He just seems like if I had a backstory for him, I feel like he's a guy who served in a war and saw a bunch of weird shit and came back and was just kind of all, had like PTSD, because that's kind of like how he came off to me.
Yeah. He had like. Maybe,
I've seen some shit. Wouldn't
like,
recommend it.
He's like, here, put these glasses on. They're like, no. And they get into a 15-minute fight in an alleyway. He's like,
And
put
then
the
they do that
glasses
fight
on.
on South Park.
Yeah. But no, as they escape, we see Kurt is bit on the arm, and his dad. Kurt takes him and Julie to the incinerator, and we see the dad begs him to like come with him. He's like, "Come on!"
And it's a good performance from the dad. Finally.
This is like I was just gonna say. This is where
like
he kind of turns it on.
He remembered to act.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to act in this. Oh yeah, okay. I'll show up this day."
It's a weird wide of him though.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, it looks kind of silly, but the actor's doing a really good job. But there's like a little bit of like you feel bad for him.
Yeah, no, you do. You do feel bad for him, and I like how he's like stuck between the gate. He's like, "Come on, come with me." And I'm like, is he like stuck, or is he gonna be okay to like get out of that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But anyways, he begs his son, like Kurt, to go with him, and then he's like, no, you have to let it go, you know? And
let her go.
And he's like, let it go. Let it go.
Disney's gonna sue us now.
Yeah. So that's when Kurt refuses, and him and Julie step into.
Well, he shows that he's been bit.
Right. Yeah. He's like shows that he's bit.
Dad. Zombie life.
Yeah. I'm taking that up now, and so I think when the dad sees that, then he kind of finally understands why.
But he's still like, acting like a parent. Like,
yeah.
like
no. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
But it makes sense, like, he doesn't want to give up on his son.
Yeah, it's a very sympathetic performance. He did a good job.
Yeah. And we see, Kurt and Julie step into the incinerator, and they burn up in flames, and that's the end credits.
Now, if this was a true sequel to Return of the Living Dead, the very next thing that would happen is you would see their ashes sort of float up into the sky, go into the clouds, and the storm happens, the rain comes down, raises the dead. Like that seems like that should have been the ending.
Yeah.
Because it's all there. But this is kind of what I was talking about before, about kind of staying with the theme of the idea of like, if you don't let things go or like let people go, especially for someone like Kurt, it's like if Kurt could have just like let her go, then he wouldn't have died. It's just because he could not like move past this that ultimately it's like he destroyed himself.
Yeah.
And then he didn't gain anything either. Like,
well, he's a drummer. That was his meal ticket.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like in the end, he learned that lesson of trying to just let it go, right?
That's why, like, I think the moment when he opens the gate for her, when the guy's like, "Yeah, we're gonna tear your girlfriend apart to pieces," actually, there's a moment where he's like looking at like the cage and like the door and stuff, and you can see he's kind of like the wheels spinning in his mind, like he's gonna open the door and try to save her again. I think they should have milked that just a little bit more, like a little bit longer, because this is like a really important point. It's like going past the point of no return, really, because as soon as like he opens that gate, it's like that's it. Like you just know, like he's just walking towards the end of his own life. He's gonna get bit. It's not gonna work out so well for him. But it's like he chooses death over going forward. It's like he can't just like let her go and just move forward. And I think that's like makes this a very tragic movie. It's like, I don't know. I think it works really, really well.
Yeah, I think like that final moment with him and his dad, I think like he learned, you know what I mean? Like I think Kurt, like
at that moment,
and that's why he was like, "Dad,
it's all too clear now."
Yeah, it's like you gotta let it go.
It's like in Walk Hard when the dad's chopped in half.
Favorite son died.
He's like, maybe if I spent more time having a catch with you instead of trading my body and mind to kill you in a machete fight.
Okay, so there's some cool points. Obviously, Christopher Nelson did the makeup. and it's directed by Brian Yuzna.
Yuzna? We'll get his name right someday.
Yeah. And did you know that Paul Rudd auditioned for the role of Kurt?
I was hoping Riverman, but that's fine.
Oh, yeah. But no, I think if Paul Rudd played Kurt...
He could have pulled off Santos pretty well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's got range.
No, I think if Paul Rudd did play Kurt, I think that would have elevated this movie to a different level, right? I think.
When Julie Walker was 17 years old, she bit her family to death.
She bit her family to death when Julie Walker was 6 years old.
So this would have been, what, 2 years before Halloween 6?
Yeah, it was like because this was 93 and that was like 95.
Yeah.
So like we're approaching the point before,
of Paul Rudd.
Yeah, before his rise, the meteoric rise.
The rise of Rudd. Who I love Paul Rudd.
Me too,
I think
man.
he's awesome. I think if he did get the role, maybe this movie it would have elevated it a little bit more. Do you think? Because he's a good actor, and I think like that could have elevated it just like a little bit.
I think.
I think it's great.
If anything, the movie would have more notoriety now.
That's
yeah. More people would be aware of it, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I like
not taken away from the Kurt in this movie. He's great, but I think
could
if
have,
like
given
Paul
it
Rudd,
something for sure.
Yeah, it would have given it legs that it deserved probably earlier.
Yeah,
you know.
I think it definitely would have helped the movie a little bit, but it is one of those things. Maybe it's just because I've seen it so many times over the years, like since I was like 15, that I just couldn't imagine it being any other way.
Yeah,
the fact that it is such like a small little movie with like really for the most part no name actors. Really, I know like Melinda Clarke went off to have a pretty decent career. She's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I would say Sarah Douglas is probably the biggest name in this movie. Right?
I think Melinda Clarke might have been.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
For us, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, she was on, Melinda Clarke was on that show that was, like, really big in the early 2000s, The O.C.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
She was, like, one of the moms in that show. And that was a big show. She was in Spawn.
I remember Spawn.
Yeah, she was in a bunch
was like,
of shit.
What do you call it? Saint?
She was a sidekick lady.
Yeah.
For the bad guy. But
I forget her name.
But anyway, like I mean, some of them had a pretty solid career following that. But Paul Rudd definitely could have given it something. But as it stands, I'm glad that it is. It's like a bunch of newcomers,
right?
Very like 90s looking newcomers.
Yeah.
Anyway, how'd you feel about the movie, Jon Snow?
I enjoyed it. Like I said, you guys have a tendency to pick some out there movies I haven't heard of, and I enjoy them. Like I think especially talking about it even kind of elevated it slightly more for me. Like all the discussion we've had about it tonight and stuff like that, and kind of putting more thought into the themes of the film. It makes more sense. You know?
It's really the thing about Mickey Musk. The movie made of cheese. Is that what it was?
I mean that's good. It's good. It's not quite termite Satan, but it's close.
Yeah.
Termite Satan. I forgot.
Oh yeah, you know what? Okay, let me ask you this: did you like Night of the Demons or this better?
I think as far as like a fun movie, Night of the Demons is more fun.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it kind of. I'll circle it back to kind of like my X-Pearl comparison from earlier. I think I probably like Night of the Demons more, but I think if you take the one part of this movie, like the performance of Julie, that rise, it's a performance above anything else in either movies. You know.
Yeah.
I like this one more.
Yeah.
Just I don't know.
I'm not asking you.
That's actually kind of funny though, because you asked him that question.
Wait. Now that I'm thinking about it, Julie in this movie, and then you have probably the worst final girl ever in Night of Demons. I might have to go with this.
Yeah.
I feel like I only asked because I know you didn't see those movies before, like you watched them specifically for the podcast, and that's why I was like, I'm kind of curious, like was there one that you really enjoyed more, or like are they kind of equaled out? You know what I mean? But
it's really close. Maybe this one edges it out slightly.
Yeah, I think like you were like nailed it right away. It was like the other one's a lot more fun, Night of the Demons, and this is a kind of like a like a serious one, and both are great for what they are.
You know what's really funny? What's funny about your question? So you asked like which of these two he preferred.
Yeah,
Night of the Demons is very clearly supposed to be like in the spirit of Return of the Living Dead
because it's
very. I mean, I think the two of them go along so well together.
The companion pieces, yeah.
And so like it's just funny that this is the third part to the movie that Night of the Demons probably ripped off.
So
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it definitely was like a copy paste of the Return.
Do that with demons.
Yeah,
and they're like, okay, and stick Leanna Quigley in both movies.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed this movie, and I feel like it's really crazy how, it translates really well, and I there's a lot of good subtext in there about letting go, and I think it's like out of the Return of the Living Dead films, like I love the original.
Yeah,
it's like hands down my favorite, but this is definitely the best sequel. Because. I mean, that says a lot. Yeah, I know. It doesn't have a lot to go against. But what a crazy movie for like a third installment. It really stands alone on it. And it's its own thing. Yeah. I don't know. How about you? What's your thoughts?
So, like, this is one of those movies, because I've been talking it up a lot. I'm very aware that there's like, some awkwardness in it. And some little things within the storytelling that's questionable.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this movie, like they said to Brian Yunze, like, you can make Return of the Living Dead 3 because I guess he wanted to make a sequel at one point. And, generally what'll happen is that they'll say, like, just do the first one again. Just like a variation of it.
Yeah.
But, like, he took the TRIOXIN and, like, the zombies, and then he did a completely different thing with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you think of Return of the Living Dead, you think it's a very funny movie, because it is. It's one of the funniest horror films of all time. This one is very, like, moody, very
serious.
Very serious. So, like, he just made his own thing with it. And the stuff that really stands out to me is, like, the creature designs. Like, Julie is, like, just fucking awesome. Like, just like that performance. And it's very, like she just understood the assignment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I find, like, the idea of just doing, like, a Romeo and Juliet with zombies in such a very serious kind of way. Like, the fact that, like, they love each other, and, like, their connection is keeping her from turning into a complete monster, but he has the power to keep getting through to her. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a weirdly romantic movie.
Yeah.
But the movie itself, like, I just think it's the way I saw it and the way you probably saw it is the perfect way to see it when you're a kid, and it's on late at night, and it just has, like, that midnight movie sort of thing to it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So to just kind of clear up my thoughts on it, I respect the fuck out of this movie for just doing its own thing. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy, like, the Melinda Clarke and what's his name, the actor Kurt's real name,
I don't know.
Not Paul Rudd. I like their dynamic, and again, just the effects in this are just, they're so imaginative and gritty and gross, and it's just like a great, like, monster splatter flick.
Yeah.
So is it perfect? No, but is it exactly what it should be? Absolutely.
I think that's an interesting observation. Like, you just said monster flick, and I think this comes across less of a zombie movie and more like a monster movie, because the designs of a lot of the zombies are so out there.
Yeah, they're not like what you'd expect.
Yeah,
like, you watch Return of the Living Dead, those look like zombies.
Yeah.
Return of the Living Dead 3, you're like, it's a grab bag of what the fuck,
Yeah, I also, like, they kind of take a backdrop. Like, they're not, like, in the movie all the time. I mean, in a way they are because of Julie, right? But I feel like the zombies themselves, it's like, here's a little bit in the beginning,
And
here's
the
like,
end.
and the end, and like, but like throughout the movie, it's mostly like really Return of the Loving Dead.
Yeah. Good you. Good on you.
I hate myself.
I love you for saying that. No, but here's the thing. Yeah, you get it in the beginning and the end, but almost like in like a Hitchcockian type of device. Like at the beginning of the movie, they show you what zombies do to people.
Right.
So they show you what a zombie can do. So then you have Julie. You know what she's going to turn into.
Right.
Like I said before at the beginning of the episode, she's like a ticking time bomb that he's just carrying around. And at any point is going to turn and just devour him. And like that is a really great suspense device. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's another slight criticism I could put towards like the
Amelia Perez.
Yes, the very end of the movie, because after the fade to black and they come back and they reintroduce Julie again, there is zero indication that she's
A zombie.
any threat.
Yeah. I know what you mean, because you see her and she's kind of like almost like where she would have been when they were in the van. Mm. She's back to like whimpering child. Mm. But, you know, maybe it is a thing that they just did because I don't have excuses.
I mean, like I said, at that point, like her performance has been so good, like that's more of the writing thing, not her. Like willing to let that slide.
Criticism I want to add to what you just said. Wouldn't it have been fucking real cool if when he saw her again, she was completely a zombie and he still couldn't let her go? That would have like really heightened those themes where it's like now you're just beyond the point where we can see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Like you're like really being stupid.
Your logic is out.
But he's just like, maybe he's like, no, I've reached her before. I could bring her back again.
And theoretically, if you want to go down that road, it would make it mean that much more if she was the one that bit him.
I know. Yeah. I agree. That would have been like a really cool way to tweak that. See, we could write a zombie movie, John.
Fucking A, man. Yeah.
We got this.
Fucking A, dude.
Anyway.
Let's get into emojis. Rory, do you want to start us off with your emojis?
Okay, so emojis. We
Yeah.
got... I'm definitely not, like, acting like I have emojis. I definitely have them.
Yeah.
There's a little monster zombie-looking emoji.
Yeah.
And then there's a rat. Mm-hmm. That's it.
It doesn't appear on screen, but he's there.
Yeah. He's not on screen, but his emoji, he's a part of the show. So those are my two things. I got a zombie and I got a rat, and his name is Mickey Musk.
Mickey Musk.
And he's going to the moon to get the cheese.
I love it.
That's my
great.
emojis.
Great. How about you, John?
We're gonna go with a heart because it's a love story.
Oh, yeah.
A little drum.
Ooh,
and
okay.
a pair of drumsticks.
Yeah, hell
and
yeah.
then a thumbs down because drummers aren't people.
Landing that shit.
Fuck you, Kurt.
Landing that shit.
But yeah, then I would do one of those oil drum for like the TRIOXIN containers. And then I have a glass, not like a broken glass because they don't have that. So I have a glass for Melinda Clark's motivation.
Sure.
And then a tent for Riverman because I couldn't find a sewer
Did you pitch
layer.
a tent for him?
No, I couldn't find like a sewer layer, so I just like, you know what? I'll give him a tent.
There you go.
Yeah. And then that's it. Because
There's a lot of patchwork with your emojis.
he should have been like Riverman, like Sewer Man. He should have been like, call me Sewer Man.
Garbage man.
Yeah, Garbage Man. But yeah, no, those would be my emojis.
Cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, let's go into plugs. Mr. Jon Snow, Metal Messiah. What would you
Metal
like to plug?
Messiah Jon Snow.
As usual, I got the Eastern Tribute Collective going. Check out easterntributecollective.com. I'm in a bunch of bands, so we got shows coming up all over the place. Our next local show in the Scranton area isn't till April, but we're playing with everyone's favorite pal Will Perna in Variant Season.
Hell yeah.
And his Linkin Park tribute band, Project Zero, as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Our Korn tribute band Issues will be playing on that show, along with a fourth band that I can't remember right now because I'm the worst. Aside from that,
actually my band.
Rory and the Boys.
We're a John Denver cover band. We don't belong.
As far as stuff we got coming for later in the year.
Get off the stage.
Oh, I didn't read the room.
As far as stuff we got coming on later in the year, we just started working on a Nirvana tribute set.
Oh,
Cool.
That's awesome.
We're calling the band Hervana because the singer of the Avril Lavigne tribute band, Skater Girl, she's going to be singing for it.
Oh, that's
Cool.
awesome.
She's singing,
That's really cool.
She's doing all the Kurt Cobain stuff, and we're also doing a couple of Hole covers, and I'll be singing the Hole stuff. So we're doing a little gender swap thing.
Yeah, I actually love Hole. They're freaking awesome. I don't know.
That sounded dirty, fella.
Yeah, I know.
Courtney Snow.
And
Courtney Snow.
And then a little bit later in the year, we're finally going to answer the question: what if we started a Creed tribute?
Oh,
There you go.
freaking A. I love that.
Got it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What just for listeners, what songs do you cover when you do like Limp Bizkit, Red Cap?
Most of it's actually off Chocolate Starfish. We do Hot Dog, My Generation, My Way, Roll In, Full Nelson, Take a Look Around. We play Break Stuff, Nookie, Counterfeit.
Yeah.
Eat You Alive, Gold Cobra.
Oh,
A couple
awesome.
of songs. Rearrange.
Rearrange is a great song. I love that song too. Yeah. That's awesome. I looked at your upcoming shows and you guys are like legit like booked, right? Like you have a ton of shows coming out.
We've got like 30-some shows booked for this year so far.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
We actually, this past week, we just hit the 2-year anniversary of our first show.
Yeah.
And we're on pace to hit 100 shows in the fall. Like for the year, like since we started.
Yeah. That's crazy. But I love to see how, you know, like, you started, right? And you were playing, you know, like certain shows. Now you're playing like 30 this year. That's insane.
crazy.
That is so cool.
We had 47 shows last year.
Yeah. That's
total.
crazy though. So. But yeah, that's just like you're starting off the year already like with 30 booked shows. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're basically
and all over too.
Yeah, like the spring's mostly booked at this point. We're actually kind of looking more towards the fall now.
Yeah.
Because summer's kind of hit and miss, you know. We'll book a little bit, but not like heavily in the summer because people got a bunch of stuff going on, vacations and events and stuff. So
yeah,
spring and the fall is usually the sweet spot to really kind of get as much in as you can.
I see all my shows in the summer.
But yeah, I was just like, I don't know. It's so cool to see how busy you guys are, and all over the place. Like I like you play in Maryland, New York, New Jersey, all over PA, basically.
Pennsylvania, Delaware.
Yeah.
We've got a show in Ohio next month.
Shut up! That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you love to travel, or are you kind of like, eh?
No, I'm cool, especially just going places you've never been and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like we generally all travel in one vehicle, so I mean, like you have
that's
to,
good.
you have
Yeah.
to, you know, like the people you're in a band with. You know, so.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
And we get along pretty well. You know, we've
yeah.
you know, no drama really. So there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. How about you, Rory?
I'm going to plug Raven View Productions. It's a film production company and the company of which you listen to these podcasts through.
Yeah.
This is where you get your frequels. Comes from the Raven View Productions. And speaking of Raven View Productions, I may be shutting myself away this weekend to finalize a draft of a script for something that I would like to make through Raven View Productions. So stay tuned.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
It's awesome, man. I've been going through the script neurotically, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things, like for me, like I tend to nitpick things I do quite a bit. when I'm writing, I'm just kind of like, I fixate on stupid things. And I'm going through it, and it all feels like it's supposed to be that way now. So I'm not like, oh, this needs to change or whatever. Yeah. Now it's just like nitpicking like grammar and the fucking action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, put a the there instead of an or whatever. But yeah, it's really turning into something really cool. So I'm very excited to start doing something with that. Stay tuned, stupids. Fourth cut reviews are keyboard warrior pal Criskin 40, constantly throwing shit at the wall to see what will stick, and what sticks, that's what he makes through fourth cut reviews. Look him up. You already talked about Variant Season, so we're cool. Gravy Diggers.
Yeah.
It's a pot pie make an empire. It's got a body count, but so what? Most companies do. You know? Schwartz Dreamboat. Our local comedian.
Friend.
Genius.
Ally.
Acquaintance.
Enemy. You look him up on all the socials. He's always doing the stuff, and I'm telling you, it's all very creative and bizarre and wonderful, and it, again, takes that gun right out of your mouth. Real Chronicles, friend of the show, Dave Gonzalez. It's a podcast that he has where they talk about movies and, do a better job than we do. We don't know what we're talking about most of the time.
Man, I don't know shit.
We don't know shit. But, you can find Dave at the Cinematic Reel, and then also you can find a lot of his reviews on RottenTomatoes.com, the best tomato website that there ever is. I pop on sometimes. It's good stuff. Most importantly, for anybody listening right now, Kitties of NEPA Pet Rescue. It has been fucking freezing out here.
Yeah.
Where we are right now in the world, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Super
technically
cool. Dunmore. Yeah, that's where Three Jacks is. That's another thing we're going to plug.
What's the burger of the month for February?
Ooh, it's going to be the Lunchbox, guys.
Yes, finally.
The burger of the month. It's a peanut butter burger. We got bacon jam on that and cheese. But point is, everyone listening right now, this is a true story. We have like a Lunchbox cult that comes to this place. They literally wait all year round for this burger. And it's
I have, yes.
Yeah, it's worth it. I'm so excited. I'm going to be here Saturday. I'm going to be eating one of those burgers and just give my heart a real, I'm trying to kill myself is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Pepper jack cheese.
Pepper jack cheese, exactly. You get fries or chips or whatever. John knew that, and he doesn't work here. I show up sometimes.
I'm part of that Lunchbox cult.
Yes, he's part of the cult. He's got a fucking robe that he wears and stuff, and does prayers. It's real strange.
Yeah.
But Kitties of NEPA
that has nothing to do with the burger.
Yeah. Kitties of NEPA Pet Rescue. Kind of getting back to what I was just saying about it being freezing outside. That means that there are lots of cats, animals in general, that are outside in that cold that need homes. They need your home. They need your love. So you should adopt some. You should donate food, donate blankets, just go spend time with them. I know the people that run Kitties of NEPA Pet Rescue, they do things where they show up in like Nayok Park sometimes, not right now because it's fucking freezing, but they also pop up in like the malls and stuff. But just look at them. You can actually find a link to their site, their Facebook and stuff like that, their socials through our website at frequelspodcast.com. And it's the best thing you can do with your time other than meth. EJ, go ahead.
Well, I would like to promote meth. I just tried it for the first time, and I cannot stop doing it. It's pretty good.
He's currently doing laundry.
Yeah. I would like to promote, of course, Adam Farley and Krista Lou's music on Spotify and iTunes. It's pretty good stuff. Comics on the Green. They're amazing if you have
great establishment.
A need for comics.
Best establishment I've ever been thrown out of.
Yeah.
Real patient with me.
The owner, Dave, is like one of the greatest guys you can ever meet, and you might like if you get to go in there and meet him, he'll never forget your name. It's like one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, because I just will be like, oh, I'd like run into him. He's like, how's your friend Chris? And I'm like, you remember him? He was with me like once or twice. Like, it's crazy. But he's the coolest guy. Also, Three Jacks, of course. And I would also like to say one more thing that obviously, what do you call it? Mike Vinci, the Vinch. If you check out Shanty Hill or Shantytown Design, they do a lot of great work for website design and all that kind of stuff. And he actually designed frequelspodcast.com. And
he says it's one of his
it.
lesser efforts, and that he felt forced.
Yeah,
I felt we were like standing over him the whole time, and there may not have been a gun in his back, but just there's no time to check.
You get what you pay for. I mean,
yeah. And he's just a cool dude.
Ass dude.
Yeah, and I know he's itching to come back because he's back in the area now.
Shit.
And he was like, "Yo, let me know." And I'm like, "You got it, man." But last but not least, make sure to check out frequelspodcast.com. That's where you can find all our pictures and our episodes and just little tidbits on there. Our merch. We have merch out there.
Yeah, we're going to be adding some glass for you to shove in your face like Julie Walker in the movie.
It just has like little tiny Frequel like logos on it.
Each piece of glass is $60.
Ooh,
so
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good price for it.
Yeah.
And then, cheapers. And then that's all I got.
Shit.
Special thanks to Jon Snow, Metal Messiah. It's so weird not to plug you, because it threw me off. Because I'm always like,
we're gonna plug you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it again. You can if you want. I mean,
Metal Messiah.
Metal Messiah, Jon Snow. No, because I was like Adam Farley, Chris Alou, and I was like, oh my God, John's here, and I can't do that plug.
Listen, I'll never stop you from promoting. You know?
Yeah. No, you guys, if you're out there, make sure to like literally go on EasternTributeCollective.com and check out their upcoming shows. This guy just is like the best showman, best stage presence you could ever see.
That's why I like when I see the movie The Greatest Showman. I give it the middle finger.
Yeah,
because I've seen better.
I've seen it better and live.
Yeah,
and it's
gonna make me
Snow.
blush.
Better
Kids. Thank you.
thighs.
Yeah, better thighs.
Anyway.
Super thighs me. And but no, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Like, every time I'm here, I have a great time just talking with you guys. It's just like we're not even shooting a show; we're just talking.
I know, yeah,
and that's great, and I have a great time. It's fantastic,
dude. Same. I always love having you on. One of my favorite episodes ever is definitely the
Hellraiser
Vince version of Hellraiser. Yeah.
That's a banger.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to that episode yet, number one, that hurts our feelings. Number two, it's really, really funny. So give that one a listen.
Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, thank you for always coming on and hanging out with us. And hopefully next time you come back, it's a movie you pick, and we don't force our stuff on you.
Absolutely not.
We're not like forcing our picks on you. No, but yeah, and then thank you to everyone who listens at home. Like, we really, really appreciate it. We love you guys. Well, I do. Rory might hate you guys, but I
have a revenge list.
And without you guys, we couldn't do this. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. And with that being said, thank you for listening to Frequel. I was gonna go with a Riverman reference too.
Yeah, boy.
Best character.
Oh, best episode of River Dudes ever.
Riverman dudes.
Riverman dudes.
That's what they should have called him, the River Dude.
Oh,
See that?
man.
Fuck you, Hollywood.
There are so many jokes, so many references we could have made had we thought of that earlier.
Damn it! You ever mix drugs and alcohol?
Is there any other way to do that?
No, just that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm on drugs and alcohol right now. This has all just been a front. You guys believe me?
Yeah. Yeah, we totally bought it.
I don't think I've ever been sober. Watch me ruin my life.
I don't.
That may have been a cold open. I don't know.
Yeah, watch me ruin my
Watch
life.
me ruin my life is a catchphrase. I'm gonna stick that right into a movie somewhere.
Yeah. I think it's catchy.
Yeah, let's start this fucking episode. All
That
right.
phrase got caught because it's so catchy.
That one didn't land.
New host next week. I'm so sorry.
Snow host.
Yes.
Snow host.
That's what catchphrases do. They get caught.
Oh my god! Now he's just really
Just let it die, please.
just making it worse.
Catchphrases. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez, how he's explaining it.
It's always better when you explain the joke.
Well, you've
so
already
people
said
get
it, so it would be a caught phrase.
Yeah, the phrase is
a
caught.
detained phrase.
House arrest.
I like if that was your whole end to that. House arrest.
House arrest.